See you, everyone. Thank you for joining. I know it's late, you know. I'm just testing everything, sending out the notifications really quick, and we're going to get started. OCO. King Third, what up? To watch all of my exclusive content not featured here on my channel, log on to my website at imjustheretomake.com/films. Alright. Okay. Alright, so I guess I could go ahead and get it ready right now. It's coming out clear. We good on this side? What I really think is going on here is people, certain people, their reality is being tested, and that's making them question a lot of stuff that they're familiar with. That's a good thing. That's what you would want to do. You would want to question everything to make sure it's, you know, to be sure of its accuracy and validity. I feel as though I put in a lot of work in order for people to begin to start questioning certain things dealing with history. And in fact, yeah, dealing with history in general, and on top of what happened with us as a people, the indigenous people of the Americas. Because the indigenous people of the Americas, the story doesn't start at 1492. That's number one. The American government starts at 1776. And that wasn't that long ago. If we look at that, our history stretches longer than both. What you're referring to in 1492 was a foreigners' arrival and them not knowing about this land. They landed here, foreigners land. Let's not even mention Christopher Columbus, it's just foreigners. 1492. Informants, spies, explorers. That's what an explorer is. It's an informant. So they were spies coming to be nosy. They knew people were here already. They wanted to see how they were living. Notice how they cleaned on to the East Coast and not the West Coast the first go around. The first go around, they weren't on the West, they were on the East. The majority of our indigenous people here on the East were already civilized, and we were already living accustomed to our own traditions that we created. Certain things weren't documented. I mean, we weren't the type of people that would want to go run and write something down. But those that did write it down witnessed certain things, yeah, and they came from different areas. In fact, different countries and even different continents. So there was an existence here, and that's the whole point. And for them to turn around and state that these mixed breeds, referring to the Native Americans that were, you know, they're indicating that they were here, or they were the indigenous people, and I would love to see some record of that. I mean, because if that was the case, where were they during these wars? Just in the 1800s alone, where were they? We only see our ancestors fighting these wars. Very few whites. The majority of it was us. Infantry after infantry. I pull up these records and I look at this, I'm like, wow. They've been lying about a lot of things, but of course they have to. I mean, once you tell one lie, you gotta keep it up by telling more. Throughout my research, I said, well, what was the reason? What was the reason why they needed to lie? Took me a while, but once I found out the reason, I shared it and I told people, I said, the reason why they lied, or they had to lie, is for them to, the government, to stay in control. It's their way of staying in control. That's why I know this government that we see now is quasi. They're acting as if they're a government. It's a temporary stay. They're foreigners. They're not supposed to be here. My agenda is to wake the people up about this, because we're looking for change constantly. But it's a few things that gotta change, and they gotta start from the top. Like even right now, like if somebody was to have an issue with Amazon, for example, Amazon.com, and it's a major issue, you know, you don't go to the supervisor, and you don't go to the manager, the regional manager, the general manager. You don't go to, you go to the top. Go to the top, then it trickles down. You put that pressure on the person that's at the top to make the adjustments. That's why I said I'm really not interested in becoming a politician, because me becoming a politician solves nothing. It just forces me to join something that was already fraudulent to begin with, and then hope that I will make some change when I don't see it happening. It would have to be more than one person to make that type of noise simultaneously. You can't just have it years apart. You all got to do it at one time. The fight is with the government. When I say they, usually I'm referring to the government. Our ancestors, and I have these treaties. I actually have a lot of the treaties, and I don't see any signature. That means that these treaties were null and void. I mean, yeah, you got the names of certain people that were there, allegedly, not a signature, not even an X mark. I said, uh-oh. Is that why they're not upholding their word? These treaties were not signed. Okay. I started digging some more, like, what other moves did they make in order to take us over? A lot of laws of the lands were created, referring to literally confiscation. They didn't call us owners. They didn't call us natives. They called us urban Indians and Negro Indians at that time. Reason why they used that type of terminology, what I'm referring to is the War Department. The War Department was referring to that type of term, using that type of terminology, referring to those that were not consenting to the government. Those that consented with the government were considered civilized. Civilized Indians. Maybe I'm not civilized enough. Because the way it looked, this world looked wild to me. I much rather consider myself a wild Indian. Oh yeah, that was another term. They used wild Indian as well. And I'm just mainly here to educate the people based off of what I've researched so far and can verify by documentation. I don't want anybody to get the wrong ideas thinking that I'm doing this for some type of clout or money or anything like that. If that was the case, I would have been gone a long time ago. If it was about the money, I would have been gone a long time ago. I want to get this message out. A lot of people got to wake up. A lot of our people have to wake up. It's up to all of us to spread this message. It really is. That's why when it comes to, you tracing your family's genealogical background by records, that's why it's very important, because they committed a genocide on our people by way of the pen. The reason why the documents are so important is because we can use it against them. Everything that they did was documented. Use it against them. What they're gonna say from that point forward? They're the ones that recorded it. That's why I encourage people to get those records. Not only due to the fact that there's a strong possibility that they own land, maybe a farm, businesses. You'll never know. It could have been strictly a farmer. Could have been, it doesn't matter at that point. You will find, in most cases, that your ancestors were not slaves. To me, I just want you guys to think about this, but to me, how can a slave ever own land? What happened? That made me question the slave trade. I'm like, wait, there's too many landowners to be a slave trade. What were they trading? So I noticed that they couldn't get the adults. They had to get the children from ages 3 all the way up to 16 for the males. 18 for the females and 21 for males. Black codes. They were utilizing our children. Our ancestors were children at that time. And then they handed us stories that we were separated from our families, and nobody's record reflects that. Still, to this very day, all people could do is repeat stories that they were told by certain people inside of the schools that they were registered or were attending. That's it. you would need documentation to back those stories up. Real authentic documentation. I highly recommend it. Because if that doesn't match up with the story that you were told by those strangers in school, you just wasted your time. Or they wasted yours. But now it's time to get the real. Pull it up. See what happens. See if you have any ancestors that were on any of the vessel lists or the index vessel list. See if they came off of a boat. Everybody that came off of the boats were documented. That's number one. I don't know why people don't want to stress that issue. You could say that we came from Africa, blah, 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 but they documented everything. So if our ancestors came from Africa, how come it doesn't reflect in their documents? That should have been held up high if that was the case. That's the reason why you can't go to the, go with the stories and try to go to the Supreme Court and get reparations right now based off of the stories that you hear. It won't work that way. They tried it. It won't. They tried it in the 60s. Then again, they tried it in the 70s. Because that story started in the 60s. So people wanted to run with that. Hey, we could get some money with it, and it didn't work. It backfired. The reason why? Because there was no verification. In fact, how can the judge prove your story to himself, him or herself? Matter of fact, how can you without documentation? How can you prove it to yourself? Stop taking other people's word. Find out on your own. I'm going to continuously do things like this, to get the message across, to get the people, motivated to find out about their families. Because it's a beautiful thing, and you will never know. You will never know. You could have ancestors from Africa. You could have ancestors from Europe. I mean, we know they came, and they came later on. We know that for a fact. But that's not everybody. The majority of us were already here. That also reflects in the records. The Virginia Company of London, the Virginia Statutes at Large, started in 1619, indicated who they ran into when they got here. 1 second. What do you mean you can't get on? Oh, it's closed? Okay. Hold on, how do you open it up? Oh, right here. All right, make public. Sorry about that. Let me make this room public. That's what the problem was. Okay. I guess they now can get in here. Is it public now?
Yes.
It's public now? Okay. Yeah. I didn't mean to make it private. I thought I could have sworn I invited these people to the stage. I don't know why it's not.
Yeah, it'll probably take a second. Sometimes, like, if you hit the invite or accept, it just sometimes the app be glitching, but they'll come up. Or sometimes what I do is I'll click on their profile and just put invite up and just kind of usurp it that way.
Yo, hey Dane.
What's up?
Bro, I just want to appreciate you for everything you've been putting out, man. I remember me and my dad heard a clip that Lord Jamal had. He was talking about, that we ain't come from Africa and everything. And I was trying to, I heard the voice and he said, send that to me, man. I sent it to him, but I didn't know who it was. It took a homeboy out of my motorcycle club named E, that we call E. And he said, hey, I know you used to be in that Pan-African stuff, man, but I've been following the guy named Dane Calloway. I like Dane Calloway. I like, yeah, he's offered to send you the link. When he sent me the YouTube link, and I heard, I said, man, this the guy I've been looking for. I ain't know who he was talking about because they clipped the part with your name on there, right? But I heard the other part where he was talking about it. It just had your voice in there, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and see, I seen some guys that trying to attack you, that sell some merch or whatever. Got this little, like they took a logo and add their own spin to it. But I'm like, man, that's crazy. And people be trying to attack this man, saying he did nothing because the information you put out is waking up a lot of people. So that's enough work right there of his own, So
without counting everything else, I agree. I mean, they know what's up, and I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. The only reason why they making that type of noise is because my noise that I'm making is louder.
But I want to know why we can't come together as a collective, right?
Because
why
people are invested. They have money invested in that agenda. So when they see that their money's crumbling, then yeah, they got to come to the top guy that's assisting their money crumbling.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I understand it, but I still don't understand it. But you know, man, I appreciate you, man. Like me and my father, you know, I've been getting records of my family, you know, asking people names and stuff. I ain't stopped, but I got a good bit of first names and last names, you know, and I just got to get up there to Washington and do that, you know, information, because
or you could.
In Birmingham, that's where I'm at. Birmingham, Alabama, man, they won't let you get that information. So
what about the U.S. Census records? Do you have any census records yet?
No. I mean, I'm still looking for information and ways that I can bring this to. My father, he was like, hey man, just do what you do, man. You know, whatever you come up, you know, just present it to the family. So, you know, our people, our lineage, because I have
and I strongly suggest this, but I do have an instructional guide, especially for those that are just getting started. Follow my book from front to back. You need to basically create a paper trail. And I state all this in the book. I tell you exactly what you need and exactly what steps to take, because that's what you do to get started and to get the ball rolling so you can have records in your hand. You don't got to go too far back to find out who your family, what your family was doing and who they were. You don't got to go that far back. But I do recommend that you keep going, because you'll never know what took place. But yeah, you don't have to go that far back. I mean, 1850s, 1860s, 1840s. You go right then and there. You're gonna find out what's going on. They should be saying slave anyway if they were saying slave at that time. I mean, if they were enslaved at that time.
I talked to my grandfather, brother on my dad's side, right? He's like 80, like 85, and I asked him, you know, cause it seemed like most of my folks coming back from Mississippi when I you know, did deep into it, I'm hearing the elders saying, yeah, we used to go back and see this family member in Mississippi. And I'm like, hold on, that's the same thing they saying about, you know, my mom's side of the family, right? And I don't know how they push towards Alabama or whatever, but my 85.
That ain't that far away. That's close.
Well, yeah, you're right, right? With my 85-year-old, well, he probably 86 right now. He said his mama never told him that about slavery. He said, matter of fact, he said he had friends in the country. They was in the country, I think, York, Alabama, something he said they was from. And he told me that, you know, he had Caucasian friends. He said he don't know nothing about slavery. Mama never put that type of information in his head. So it's just crazy that some elders never heard of that, you know. But
it's a lot of elders that never heard of it, brother. You're not the. In fact, the guy that brought me on to Clubhouse is from Alabama. So I'm very familiar with Alabama's history, rich history on top of that. But I can almost guarantee, without me even looking at your records, that the next time you talk to me and you start pulling up even some of the records, you be like, dang, you ain't gonna believe this. I'ma just sit tight and listen. And wait when you get finished, I'm gonna be like, I told you so.
Yeah, man.
I ain't gotta say nothing. The record's gonna tell you.
Record's gonna tell you. Well, I got a good list of names on
you got dates and everything too?
Yeah, I got dates, and I look for places like the book, you know what I'm saying? With the book, that's how I ended up finding about Mississippi, right? You know, and everything. But I was happy on my dad's side. I was able to get back. I go back as far as a date, part of Mississippi, and it was my 5th time. Grandma, her last name was Drish, Pearl Drish was her full name, and I forgot the part of Mississippi they said she from. But see, I ran in a dead end on.
You gotta get them records
side.
now. Nah, you need those records. Yeah. You need those court records, all those vital records, the county records, marriage, death certificates. If they went, you know, they joined the military. You need that.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, cause see, on my mom's side, my grandma's mother, which would be, you know what I'm saying, what my second time grandparent. No one know who her daddy and mom was. Like her uncle and auntie raised my great grandmother, and it was said that it was said that my great granddad killed her mom. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's for. So like they don't really have information. Like she wasn't even told who her mom or her
But you got the location and you got their at least date of birth, maybe, or like a rough estimate.
I got her date of birth, and I got her date of birth, and I got her name. You know, cause that's
all you need. You can locate her records, yes sir. You can locate her records with just that.
So that ain't nothing that's gonna stop it.
Nah.
You know, cause my family never pushed to try to find out who they was when that happened. That's the story that floats around with certain family members.
And see if it connect. Look, not denying what they saying, but it's got to be something that's gonna reflect that. Like you might run across a death certificate, you know, if that's applicable during that time period, where it may state something like that, or you may find a police report, for example. You'll never know, you know what I'm saying? But with you having the vitals that you need in order to pull up those records, I will hop on that tomorrow, like today.
Okay, and so
like
so what'll be the place to start with the records first?
If you got my book, I'm telling you where to go. I had to pick up the book, cause see, I be on the road, right? And I got those names, places, and dates, and then I set the book down. You pick that book right back up. I'm telling you, because I'm telling you where to go, brother. Like I'm not okay. Now I'm gonna tell you right now. Like a certain places are closed right now but you can at least try to see what they have online, just to check and see, like Ancestry.com, just to see. As an example, there's a few other websites that I named in there too, where you could try to see what they have online. Because these places where you go in, I mean, I'm not sure if there's a vital statistics building open in Mississippi right now. I'm not too sure about that. A lot of government places are still, you know, they're making excuses. But you could check and see if your vital statistics building is open or not. And if they are, then yeah, I will hop, skip, and jump down there and start grabbing those records. If not, check and see what they have online.
Okay.
Hey, yo, to this topic, right? You know, I was thinking about this the other day. Who lied and said we came from Africa? I was doing research, and it was like a whole bunch of archaeologists, but none of them actually stood by the claim that all life began in Africa. And
you said none of them stood by?
Yeah, they don't stand by the claim that everything began in Africa. Okay. But they claim that, you know, people migrated and of course, you know, adapted to their particular environments and so forth, and to where they had a long period of time, they mutated to different genetics and shit. I mean, there's different claims that I've read, you know, their theories. But one thing I ask people is, if you think everything began in Africa, then the question I ask you is, then what about plants and trees? Did all plants and trees begin in one place?
Animals, we keep going down the list.
Right. Yeah, species, all different species and everything, because one thing about the animal kingdom is that, you know, we're not too far different when it comes down to genetics and stuff. There's only like a certain percentage that we differentiate. You know what I'm saying? And we all mimic the same behaviors. It's just that, of course, in different groups, you have different abilities, and that's all. That's why I'm gonna leave it at, man.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of differences. It's just certain people, you know, want to stick to confirmation bias information, so they'll stick to what they're used to hearing. And if somebody repeats that information, that's who they agree with. You know, that's called the peer reviewed. I'm not for that. I'm not here to take somebody else's word for it. I wouldn't want nobody to take my word for it. I would want them to research it. I'm just here to provide that spark.
What's wrong with coming from Africa? Is there a problem? Is there a problem with coming from Africa?
No, it's not a problem with coming from Africa. Nobody said that.
Okay, because this title suggests that somebody lied and said we came from Africa, like it's problematic.
No, no, I got it. It was problematic. Let me explain. Hold on, wait. Let me explain to you.
Anti-African vibes.
One second. Let me explain to you. It has nothing to do with anybody from Africa. It's just that it's certain people over here claiming that my people came from Africa, and we didn't.
But so what? Who cares?
Okay, well, why are you here? Just sit back and listen. Excuse me. Like, I ain't got no time.
Thank you, man. God damn.
Go ahead, Yanni.
Yeah, can I just say this real quick to this Gina? Gina, if the facts are that the people are saying they're not from Africa, well, she just left. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, why do we have to be from Africa? Come on.
All like even plants and animals have an origin, and we human, like the species human, has an origin also. So it's not truth that everybody like someone said like the plants come from Africa. It's like the wrong thinking.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't say that, like, brother. He didn't say, he wasn't alluding to that everything came from Africa. He was saying why. He was like, it doesn't make sense that people are saying that.
I mean, about the human species, if you're talking about if we talk about coffee, for example, like coffee now grows in every part of the world, but coffee originally come from East Africa, like in Africa. You took the seed from Africa and then you spread it around the world. And I think like the seed is the human species. The human species started in Africa and then it spread all over the world.
And that's the false information. and Yanni, okay, there's a lot of foods that are indigenous to the Americas, like the tomatoes, maize, what we know is to be corn. Okay, that's here. Cassava, which is what y'all use for fufu, is from America. So there's a lot of food that are indigenous here that was exported to other places in the world. So that whole
but
hold on, Yanni.
It doesn't.
Hold on. Like I said, there's a lot of different foods and landmarks that are indigenous over here that predate over here. So that whole everything came from Africa. We really need to stop that narrative. And the Australians, they share no genetic marker DNA with Africans. So we have to stop, okay?
Okay, but
okay. I'm making space for other people right now. Who else? I tried to click on this gentleman's name right here, but it's not letting me bring him up. Yeah.
So the question I have for you is when do you think that humans, the particular species existed here in Americas versus the other continents?
I mean, that would be my guess. That would be a guess because nobody lived back then to determine when human species started. Me personally, I only speak from something that I can verify, unless somebody's okay with an educated guess.
So do you subscribe to DNA or these Ancestry.com, 123andMe, or those type of sites that link or connect people with genetic makeups and so forth?
No, not at all. The DNA testing just started in the 80s. Why was it just started in the 80s and the blood quantum came before it?
Maybe to answer that question, probably an agenda to mislead, who knows,
All of a sudden, they came up with a DNA test years later after creating the one-drop rule. It's all BS. I knew it was BS from the start. The reason why is because DNA testing with maternal and fraternal is totally different from genealogy DNA testing. Genealogy DNA testing needs your saliva, and then they compare it with other living people, not dead people, living people. So you can't tell me my historical genetic makeup by comparing it with other living people. It defeats the purpose. There's nothing historic about living people. That's number one. Number two, how far back are you going to go? And if you went that far back for real, how come you can't come back with names on these test results? You should be telling me who my family members are. versus you guessing. Tiff, you trying to say something, Tiff? It was breaking in and out.
No, I was agreeing because I've been doing Ancestry.com for like 4 or 5 years now, and I did my family tree on Ancestry, but I was able to trace on my grandfather's line, everybody, even on my grandmother's line, but once it gets to my grandmother's mother, she's very elusive, even with her name being on the marriage license, her parents' name being on the marriage license, they're very elusive. It's very hard to find out.
What year are you in right now?
This like 18. She was born like 1886.
Oh, that ain't hard. You now what county?
South Carolina. I think it's like
Now South Carolina is easy. Take that from me. I'm not gonna lie. South Carolina is very easy.
Okay.
But now you gotta go by county.
Okay.
Now you have to go by the county. You literally gotta see what the county has held on your family members of that year. In fact, the county could go all the way back to the 1850s.
Okay.
If they don't have a thing on your family members during that time period, then it's the National Archives.
Now the National Archives, do I have to go there? Because I know the one down in South Carolina was closed for a while.
Now, I know a young lady was suggesting that they do it online. I'm not sure how they act online, I'm gonna be honest. But I know me personally, I would want to go in, me personally. But I'm not too sure how they are online. I never tried them online. I was always in the facility.
It's NARA.gov, and they do charge for some documents on there, but you are able to search their Freedmen papers, everything.
Oh yeah, you are gonna get charged. I hope people know that you can't do this for free.
Right. I found a land grant too with my great grandfather's name on it. It say it was granted to him after the I think the Civil War. No. One of the wars he got granted a land grant, but the land grant had another man's name on it and said that it was assigned to him for his life and use or something.
Oh nah. Where's the deed? Where's the deed at?
I don't know. I found it on the Bureau of Land Management. Bro, I found it on there.
Man, go get that deed and see if he sold it.
Okay.
Check and see if he sold it. If he didn't sell it, that's yours.
Wow.
So
okay.
So can you elaborate? Sorry, can you elaborate on the South Carolina?
Hold on one second, Vince. Hold on one second. For those who just heard her say the Bureau of Land Management, that's GLO Records. It's GLO-records.blm.gov. That site is a very important site. You can find patents on other sites too, but that is a very good one too. So just so you can write that down.
Yeah, that's a government website. But I mean, what you looking for is the patent. Okay, there's a difference between a land patent and a land deed. The land deed is letting you know what happened to the land. Okay, after they received that land, what happened? Was it sold or was it kept or was it moved over to their trust? The deed is going to explain that. That's what you really need. Having the patent really doesn't confirm. The deed does. Like right now, I'm on my second house, and without this deed, I can't confirm that I own this house. Not the patent.
Right, I understand.
It's the deed.
So Dane, on the Newberry, damn it.
The website to go for the deed. Where can I go get that?
The county records.
You could get it from the national. Usually it's the National Archives that will pop right up with your family. But you can try the county. But me, I'm gonna say National Archives because I know for a fact that that's popping up in the National Archives. Yeah, you gotta grab the deed and have it in your possession. And basically, it's showing you what happened. Straight up, the deed will tell you that. Similar to how when you sign over your car, like if I'm selling my car to somebody, I'm handing in a deed with my name on it, stating or indicating that I sold it to that person. Kind of like a bill of sales in a way. But that's why the deed is important, more important than the patent.
So the question that I have for you, you said South Carolina. You alluded to you got pretty excited. So I know my ancestry goes to Newberry, South Carolina, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Can you shed light on what that means to you in those particular counties?
I'm not gonna run off guesses. I can only go off what your records indicate. If your records indicate that they were on a reservation, for example, within those areas, then we need to start looking at the name of that county or the name of that reservation, because technically that's your tribe.
But the name of the county was Newberry.
That could have been the name of the tribe. Could have been.
Charlotte, North Carolina. But I think those are cities, right?
Certain cities were used. Certain city names were used from, I'm talking about literally from the tribes. A lot of the city names were adopted from the tribes. Or borrowed, rather.
I was just about to ask about the South about that, because I know the Southern Baptist Convention used to be like the Choctaw or something like that, and they changed their name to the Southern Baptist Convention. So I was going to ask if they would have records.
Oh yeah, the churches, those historic churches have records. All of them.
Church of Latter-day Saints got a lot too. Church of
Latter-day Saints got all of them.
Millions.
They got more records than the National Archives.
Right.
It's in Utah. It's in Utah inside of a cave. It's boarded up, or rather it has a door that can withstand a nuclear bomb.
They hiding something.
Yeah, they hiding. And they want you to be and they want you to be a member for 3 or 5 years in order for you to access that information.
And you have to turn all of your personal possessions over to them when you get a membership?
Now that part I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but I know they want you to be a member for a long period of time.
So Dane, I got a question for you. So you just mentioned about the churches having records, right?
Historic churches.
Historic churches like AME. So we also know that these historic churches also own colleges and universities, right? So here's my question. Why weren't they teaching that we were indigenous at the college level, even though in public school they wasn't going to teach us?
Because the colleges are on stolen land. Look at all the land these colleges have right now.
The HBCUs I'm speaking.
Yeah, even HBCUs. Keep in mind, that's another thing. That's a rumor. The HBCUs wasn't even called that, historically black colleges. These so-called historically black colleges, are you referring to the owner? Who are you referring to? Because the owners were not black. And even the churches weren't black owned. You gotta see, okay, once again, I'm gonna release a video on this to show you who owned and started these colleges and the churches simultaneously, and took the land, literally. They made you become electors in order for them to take the land, by the way. That was in the 1800s as well. And that's how they took your land. They made you submit to becoming a citizen. Once you became a citizen, now you're a citizen of the government. Now, everybody think that's all innocent, but you don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. Go back a little bit, because before you were a citizen, how come you owned farms, acres of land, houses, maybe even businesses in most cases? And then all of a sudden, as soon as you registered to vote and become a citizen and become an elector, all that was removed.
Yeah, I found some of that in my family genealogy. I found property during years that you wouldn't expect people to have property. I'm sorry, before the turn of the 20th century, there's people on my mother and my father's side that have land.
Oh, it won't ever fail. That won't ever fail. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, I have the land documents. One I found I found it popped up, right? But my grandmother had told me the story of how they came about the land. And then she told me that they had changed their name. And so I started looking under a different, well, anyway, I found it. I wasn't looking for it, but I was looking for my great grandmother, but I found the land document. And then on my mother's side, as I was doing hers, then another branch of the family connected with me, and then they had a whole bunch of records, and then they sent those to me, and those were interesting.
Are you going to pursue? Are you going to get it back, or was it sold off already?
I have no idea, because that side of the family, on my mother's side, was not really my interest. It was on my father's side, right? Because it's like my grandmother lives X amount of years, or great grandmother lives X amount of years, and then I can't find no burial record. I can't, nothing. She just disappears off the earth. And
what year is that?
It's between 10 and 20, 1910 and 1920.
Ooh. Okay, a couple of things could have happened at that time. They were changing a lot of the census records during that time, and especially during the 1920s, that's when you saw a lot of the elders were being threatened for claiming Indian.
Yeah, some of the records on my dad's side, they're white. They're like my grandmother, and her mother, they're labeled as white.
And they had to do that to save themselves. Like some of our people had to claim white on the census so they will not be killed or their lands won't be stolen. It depends on the situation now. If I were you, I would go back another generation to confirm, you know what I mean? To confirm what happened prior, to that generation coming about and, becoming adults, and some moves had to be made at the top of the 1900s. I will come back some more.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually drive up to the National Archive because I was going up there, but it's like an hour away from my house. I live in Washington State, so I live in Tacoma, and the National Archive is in Seattle, but it's only about an hour away.
Is it open?
I don't even know.
Call before you go, brother, because I'm not. A lot of people telling me that their National Archives facility is closed still.
Yeah. Oh, here's the other thing I was gonna say. If you go to some of the Mormon churches, you can request microfilm from their archive.
But you got to be a member.
Well, it wasn't when I went there. You just paid $2.
You got to tell me what you did then, because those Mormons don't play that. They want you to be a member in order to access their microfilms. You got to tell me what you did.
Well, when I first,
I'm here in Utah as well, so I can go ahead and do that as well.
Well, here's what. Let me go back some, because this was in 90 something when I was doing this. So what happened was I couldn't get up to the National Archive all the time, but just around. So I was up at the National Archive and I met a lady, and she told me, "Hey, you can just go to the Mormon," because one of the things that the Mormons do, each Mormon has to go find his family genealogy. And I didn't know that. Every Mormon that's in the church has to go do that. And when they find records, other records, they submit them. So I found my great grandmother's marriage record in the Mormon records, and we were nowhere near no Mormons.
Yeah, they took them. They took a lot of those microfilms.
Yeah. So I was like, well, how did they get? And then the lady told me, well, when people are researching, they go ahead and submit, even though there's not their record, they just submit it because somebody will probably be looking for it eventually. But anyway, yeah, when I did that, it was in the 90s, and I heard about this Mormon church and it wasn't no big old Mormon church. It's just a small church around the corner from me. And so I started going there. And then they had some of the records, not a whole lot, but I could look up through the microfiche, find what record I needed, right? And then give them the numbers on this piece of paper. And then I think I paid like just a few dollars, right? And then they go, we'll call you when it comes in. Then a few days later, whatever, it would come in and I go look at it. It was time consuming.
Man, I wish it was that easy right now. I really wish it was that easy right now.
Yeah. So if you're in South Carolina, like Columbia, South Carolina, our archives is open here from like Tuesday to Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll be there.
The other thing, man, is when I was stationed in DC for a little while, I got to go to the main one.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, and got a little bit of stuff. But yeah, man, there's some funny business going on, man. But Dane, I just wanted to tell you, man, I really, really appreciate the videos that you put out and the information. I'm 59, I'll be 60 in a few months. And when I was about 12, my mother told me we were the lost tribe. That was way over my head, right? But then as I started to get older, I started to ask, I love history anyway. And so then I started asking questions like, well, why is this and why is that?
Mm-hmm.
And now this is just me personally, but I believe that America is Canaan. I believe Moses came here.
It's a few people saying that. You're not the only one saying that.
Yeah, I believe that and they're finding all this Paleo-Hebrew stuff in the mounds. See, my mama from Mississippi, right? And from Kahoma, or from Clark's, well, Sunflower, but they lived in Clarksdale for a long time. And we would go back in the summers, and yeah, man, these it seems like they done lied so much till the lie, everybody think it's what the truth is.
Yeah.
And what's funny is when you look at how these Trump supporters, they rather believe a lie than the truth. And I'm like, they acting just like how they've been. I mean, they've lied about everything.
Brother Fred,
about the whole history of the country, everything.
They had to. The reason why is because how else can you keep up a lie?
When you tell one, you gotta tell a million.
You gotta tell a whole lot.
Yeah, man. And then Ivan Van Sertima, like ancient American or ancient archaeology, he put out a little thing the other day. I thought, it was the Omax, right? I thought, yeah, let me watch this, man, see what else I can glean up from the Omax. They over there trying to say that them not black people.
Yeah, they're trying to say
they're from the Fijian Islands. They could be people from like you white people, man. Y'all, you know.
No. It does get upsetting, but I feel where you coming from, Brother Fred, because that's what I'm attacking. Really, I'm combating that to stop that. We need to nip that in the butt right now. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so my question is, so with the indigenous aboriginals of the Americas, would you say we're closely related to more of the Pacific Islanders,
yes, sir.
Australian aboriginals?
Automatically.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because personally, for me, I'm more of like the dark skin, more Asian looking type Native American, if that makes sense. But we do agree that the first people that did come here were the dark skin aboriginals.
Man, look, you're not look. It's too many people. It's too many people confirming what I present. Too many people, just not in the United States. Pacific Islanders as well. Okay, and we were just talking about the Fijians. Shout out the Fijians. But yeah, they always show love.
Papua New Guinea too.
Dane, check this out. So I was in the Navy, right? When I went to Thailand, I met people that was from Laos that were in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
They look like Creoles. They have, them heads, them Omac heads.
Mm-hmm.
That's their facial feature, right? And so also, if you talk to the Cambodians, they'll tell you they the black people of Southeast Asia. They got Angkor Wat there, which look just like Mesoamerica.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Now you know where those people came from. That's honestly exposing a certain group if you really think about it. But
can I just ask a quick question, and then I'm gonna go back to the audience. Okay, so I'm trying to just follow all this, right? Is the argument that all African Americans are not originated from Africa, or is the argument that some are indigenous to the Americas?
I say the majority of us are indigenous to the Americas.
Okay, a majority of you are indigenous to the Americas, and then so knowing history then, right? Because I think we all understand that the transatlantic slave trade was literally one of the worst things to ever happen to humanity, but we know that it actually did happen, and there's a good.
I disagree.
No.
I disagree that the transatlantic slave trade. No,
it didn't happen in the way that it was said.
No, not the way that we were told. I tell people that all the time. The transatlantic slave trade did not happen the way that we were told. Number one, if it was in Europe, I'm explaining. The transatlantic slave trade name was never used until the 1950s. Before that, it was called the Middle Passage. That came from the grandfather of anthropology in America, late 1800s. The only time you hear about the transatlantic slave trade and you came from Africa is when you come to America.
So I watched a video, Dane, of you, and you said that the slaves that did come from Africa to the Americas were white, and that Europe is in Africa. Could you explain that, please?
Where's Europe?
Right.
Where is Europe?
How is Europe in that? Well, I'm just trying to learn and understand. So
geographically, where is Europe positioned?
They're connected.
On the continent of.
They don't even call it Europe in Europe. They call it what? Eurasia.
That's right.
Eurasia.
And then also you have Afro-Eurasia if you want to really get into it.
There you go.
Afro-Eurasia.
Oh, hey, hey.
Like you don't have to cross any water to get to any of those land masses. You could travel from Africa through the desert that they call the Middle East to Europe to Asia without crossing any water. You can look at the map.
So you're saying Asia is in Africa too? Then is that what you're saying?
They're the same continent. They
made them 3 different continents
artificial
with an imaginary line.
Who made them 3?
Colonizers.
They're called 3 continents, but they're not really technically 3 continents because they're not completely surrounded by water. The whole landmass, Africa, Europe, and Asia are connected, and you don't have to cross water. So they're not individually separated by water, but for some reason they call them 3 separate continents. They're not separated.
I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
I'm good. It's a little bittersweet. I'm glad to hear everybody is able to find records from their ancestors, but I'm stuck in the south of America, in the Caribbean islands. I mean, my husband's grandmother, she just passed this year, 106.
Wow.
And when we try to speak to her, mostly she only remember the racism between blacks and Indians from India. And all she could talk about was the Queen of England. I'm like, that has no value. Trying to get some roots. But on my side, my great-grandmom died when she was 96, if that much. And
that's high.
Yeah. Most of my brother's down there. He's trying to find out exactly, but we can't find the records.
Where in South America?
Trinidad and Tobago. But then we were told we have family that's in every Caribbean island, overseas in Europe, India, Spain, Portuguese. Like, it's so spread out.
Were you the only one that came to North America in the family?
No, I have some of my father's side that came up, some of my mother's side that came up.
What year?
Dad, I can't even tell you. I haven't been back in 20-something years.
Wait, so you're in South America as we speak right now? Like,
no,
you're in Trinidad?
I'm here. No, I'm right now in New York City trying to get out.
Trying to get out? What you mean?
Yes, I'm trying to go back to the Caribbean. Up here in New York is horrible. Yeah, but I know on my husband's side, he found out that his great-grandfather was the first one to start like the Union base in Guyana. And he was, I forgot where he was, somewhere in Scotland. And his wife was from India. So I know just some history on his side, but on my side, it's very sketchy.
Yeah, sister, that would be very difficult for me. Like, that would consist of some traveling, because I would need to know. I will be very nosy, and I would want to know everything, so I can put it. So
I know a lot of people is saying that we are connected. Like, the whole African trade is from the Caribbean to America. That's their.
That's what happened. It was from the Caribbean to. It was from America to America. That's exactly what happened.
Yes.
That's right.
America to North America, from Canada all the way down.
Yes, from Canada all the way, the whole Turtle Island. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what happened.
Yes. So that's something like that. I can't even start because I know we scattered all over the place.
It's going to be a little difficult, and that's the reason why I asked you what year did your family come on this side. But
I have to ask because I know when my mom came up, it was in around the 90s, like early 90s.
We need to That's
her
too.
Family was here before, and they don't communicate, so I'm lost for everything.
Hold on, wait. You said her family lived here before?
Yeah.
What year was that?
I don't know, because they don't speak. Nobody want to carry on.
Sis, you need that. Because that could be the key. Like, you need that. I mean, okay. Do you have any of your family's information, like dates, locations? names?
Nothing, because nobody wants to communicate and everybody want to call themselves Christian, but yet they don't talk. It's just a headache. So I'm just doing it on my own with the help of my husband and stuff. So, and
you know
my
what,
brother, one of my brothers. So.
See, you're probably gonna be you're gonna have to be the gap filler, because it's really time out for all like the generational curses and the non-speaking and stuff. So you might just be the family member that has to
provide the spark.
I know. No, I've tried. I've reached out, and their response to me is like, "I don't know you. You're not family." I'm like, "Whoa, well, excuse me." I'll just go about it the other way. I'm gonna look through, like, I'll just keep looking.
See, I know in Guyana, my sister dad is from Guyana, and y'all, a lot of y'all are connected to like the Hindu Indians, but a lot of y'all move around a lot, cause y'all, like a lot of people in Guyana, they like in Canada, a lot of them here, a lot of them in England. Y'all move around a lot, like Guyanese people, but we all connected. We all is connected.
That's what I'm saying. We are so scattered. But what they talk about is the last names. Like, once you hear saying last names, we all connected. I'm like, okay, but how? How are we connected, by the last names? So, I asked about dates. How long does this go back? And who's connected to who? Is it through marriage? Is it through soil? It's just...
I would want to know the parents' information, like, because you said they were, and I know you can't talk to them for, they're trying to give you a hard time, but do you need that?
I'm not sure, maybe if they do have land, and here I come out of the blue, and they're like, "Oh, so you family?" No, you're not family. You haven't been living here in all these years. Listen, I was born on the soil. What are you talking about? If he stepped out of marriage and got married or have another set of family, that got nothing to do with me.
Right.
I just want to know the truth.
Hey, can I suggest that you go to Ancestry.com and just start building your tree, because they'll give you hints once you start building it. And like Dane said, the mother and the father, that's the most important. So you know your parents' name, if they know their parents' name, Ancestry will give you hints and you can start building from there. And also, if anybody else in your family started building a tree, it'll give you a hint on it and you can connect that way, and it'll make your tree even bigger. So you could just, Ancestry is really, it costs a monthly fee, but it's really beneficial.
Is there a queue?
I don't think for me.
Because her family was moving a lot. And I'm sitting up here thinking.
But Ancestry, if you pay $50 a month, they got passenger manifests, they got military records, they got newspaper records. So
but she don't have, but Tiff, she don't got that key. See, she don't got, Tiff, she don't got that key info. Like she still does need to key in some info in order for that stuff to pop up. Yeah, she needs her parents' info.
Name.
Yeah.
One thing I learned from a lot of people in Guyana is that a lot of them really came from Barbados too. Check with Barbados, they real connected with Barbados too. Mm-hmm. So maybe they real connected with Barbados. So like,
because, what my grandmother on my father's side said, once you hear that Skeet last name, they all connected in Barbados. See, they're going by the last name again. So I'm like, okay, so where does the Indian part come from? Because there's another Indian last name that's
I think the Indians colonized Guyana. I think the Indians colonized Guyana. But really, most of the people are from Barbados.
But the only thing that pissed me off about that is one of the family members told me that the Indian came over and said that they are not Indians, they are considered white because they fought in the English War and the Queen knight them as white, so they're not Indian. So when they do come over to the Caribbean, they mistreat a lot of us native Indians of the land.
Yeah, by your skin tone. We had the same thing going on with the skin tone, just like over here. They does that real
because like my husband's grandmother that passed this year, she got married to an Indian man from India, and when it's like the elections come up or something like that, and if it's a black person that won, she has to go out and do all the funding, and if it's an Indian, he has to go out and do all the funding.
And the indigenous people over there is just like us. They did the same thing to the indigenous people over there in India. They just like us. They look like us. They did the same thing to them over there. They stay in the wilderness, and they fight for their land as well.
Can I ask
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. It's just a headache.
I know it is, T. And honestly, T, I want to apologize because I wouldn't know the next step until you have more info. But that's the difficult part. Now you gotta play investigator now, because your family members are being a little rough right now. But you need that. I'm not gonna lie, because you need to pull those records so you could go further back. You need at least your immediate records so you could go further back. You could probably take things from there. But with a lot of people traveling like that, it could be a little difficult. Not gonna lie, because they're going from continent to continent. Ain't like they moving from, you know what I mean?
Right, and plus my grandmother, to my understanding, has 2 different last names or maiden names, and that's before she got married. So now that's a 3rd name. Yeah, it's a headache.
Now I would search all 3. Like, I wouldn't stop though. T, real talk, I wouldn't stop. Me personally, I would go with all 3 just to see what's going on. Trace it back to where your mother came to, like when your mother immigrated to North America. Start there and then go back, because a lot of those records, I mean, they can even, I don't know. See, it depends. It depends, because that was a lot of immigrating with your family. That's a ton of immigrating. That wasn't just 1 case. That was 3 cases. So that will be a little difficult.
Yeah, my mom's side, there's headaches. On my father's side, it's headaches too. But one thing is my older brother, he give me a little bit of information because he's down there. So I told him when I come back.
Oh, he's down there?
Yeah, so he's down there. So we're going to try to go down to get the records.
All right.
Now everything is shut down because of COVID. So we can't even go.
No. It's so, I mean, apparently it must be opening back up. Miss Evans just told me DC opened back up, and I know if they did, then everybody else should follow suit here shortly. Don't give up, T, and keep me posted, because I would love to know what you went through in order to get something, because that's difficult. I'm not gonna lie, what you are going through is very difficult. That's 3 different continents. I mean, you know, of course they call them continents. That's 3 different areas, major areas at that. You do need your family's help in this instance. You do.
All right, Dane,
I'll try again. Thank you, everyone.
No problem. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so I just want to ask a question, and then once you answer the question, I want to make a statement. So, did you say that how could the transatlantic slave trade be called by that name when it didn't involve free? Did you say that?
I said it wasn't called the transatlantic slave trade at all. It was called the Middle Passage.
Okay, but you said something about the number 3. What did you mean by that?
3 different continents involved.
Okay. I just want to inform you, the word trans in transatlantic slave trade.
I'm not talking about try. I said trans. I'm not talking about the fact that the name is supposed to mean 3. I said it was supposed to be 3 areas involved.
Okay, but I'll tell you the 3 areas.
It was supposed to be Europe, Africa, and America. But right, how can Europe people capture Africans and send them to America? How can Europeans capture Africans and send them to America?
I mean, they
went to Africa?
Nah, they don't. What army? What army did they have to go to Africa and say, all right, we're gonna capture y'all and then send y'all to a totally different landmass called America?
Okay, at this point, I'm gonna mute myself to the audience because this is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. No, I'm asking the right question.
History, though, if you actually learn history, it was a ship that landed in Hampton, Virginia, with 20 passengers that was indentured servants. They agreed to come over, and
they came from the West Indies.
Right, slavery as we know it started with a court case where somebody got sentenced to permanent servitude, but them people agreed to work, and they were sharecroppers. They were sharing.
A lot of people agreed to work.
Right.
People.
And it was a court case that decided that the children of the mothers of the people that was sentenced to permanent servitude would be sentenced to permanent servitude. So these are legalities and laws. This is not just, people got kidnapped and brought here.
Exactly.
This laws
people
turned into what we know as
what's going on is people are giving these so-called white folks too much credit. Because number one, who did that? Who was able to come from Europe and capture Africans and then go to the America? Okay, first of all, you got to understand what you have to do in order to get that done. If I was a European and I had a cruise ship, let's just say 100 people came with me on a boat to Africa, how many people we gonna capture? 1. 2, what language did we speak? 3, how are we gonna do all that and safely report to America where we haven't been and pick a spot and say, all right, now you work for me right here in America? That y'all giving them too much credit. How was that able to get accomplished? I mean, what are they, Superman, Superwoman?
That never resonated with me. With they saying that we were slaves and came from Africa. I know my ancestors, they always told me that we was Native American. On top of that, my families are fighters. When it comes to like authority and all that, my family have a known record. Like my great grandma was just like Medea, and she was Native American. She was like Medea. She would beat the hell out of police officers. She looked just like Medea and would beat the hell out of police. My family, I know for a fact, was not no damn slaves. That's all I gotta say.
Ain't nobody, look.
As a man, your grandmother was like your grandmother.
Hi, Dane. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Well, it's not really a question. I wanted to say something. So I went to North Carolina Central University. It's an HBCU in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, I definitely know that.
And I studied African American history. And they taught us about a lot of slavery here, and any of the videos that I've watched with you, that was not the stuff that I learned in school.
Of course not.
I went to school for 4 years and I learned about slavery and all this other stuff. But fast forward to now, after watching your videos, I started, doing some digging, and not very extensive to this, to where you all are with archives and things like that. But I do understand that because I went to school for that. But my great grandmother is 95 years old and she lives in Connecticut. And I found out that she was from a place in North Carolina called Indian Woods, North Carolina. And she doesn't know a lot about it, but she knows that her family are, they were Native Americans, and that's what she was raised around. But I did some digging. I found out it was the Lost Reservation and all of that, but it just stops there. Like, I can't seem to wrap my head around anything or any information, because that place is it's deep in the woods in the area that it's in. So there's no courthouses or nothing. It's off to itself, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I know places like that in South Carolina that doesn't even have a name to it. But you can check and see with those records of your family members just to see what was documented. It doesn't necessarily have to always be your mother and your father. It could be aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins. Somebody could have been involved in a church. Somebody could have been involved in a war. You want any and all records that you find.
Okay.
Those records exist, but everybody's situation is different. That's why sometimes you may hear me repeat certain things. It's for that reason, because everybody's situation is different. But you'll never know what you're gonna run across until you have that, utilize the information that you have on your family members right now. First, last name, places of birth, date of birth, and then basically start with you and go backwards. Literally, create the paper trail, similar to how you're doing on Ancestry.com when you create your own family tree.
Yeah,
it's very similar. You want to you basically doing your family tree because you're putting it together. You want to find out what happened. Don't stop. That's very good that you got that far with little to no research. Just imagine when you put research behind it.
Yeah, I mean, she's still here, so.
Oh, and she's still here? Oh, girl.
Yeah, she's
what?
95. She's still here. Yeah.
I will get on that yesterday.
Right.
Because she could be like, oh, yeah, girl, I remember that place. She could start verifying and take your camera with you, take your phone with you, because she could start verifying stuff that you find. You'll start that conversation with her. Look, Grandma, I want to have a, can I have a dinner with you? I got some things I want to talk to you about. Grandma, I know we really never talked about this, but look here. I found some census records. So how come you was on there as IN? Does that mean you were Indian? Right. I'm just saying as an example. I'm not saying that's going to be for everybody.
I get it. Yeah. And I've been back there, and it's still a lot of family that's still back there actually that we're related to, and they stay back there, but they don't know anything, like they know that they live there, but they don't know like if it was a reservation or anything actually.
Well, your grandmother would know, and I would offer to you, as I offer to a lot of young people that are talking to their grandparents that have the opportunity and the blessing to do so. There was a lot of secretism, there was a lot of hurt, there was a lot of pain, there's a lot going on, and this is why they did not readily share. I know we asked, like, why didn't they just tell us? It was beaten out of us. There were Indian schools. There's a lot.
They were threatening them.
What I say is you should say to your grandmother, Grandma, what kind of Indian are we? Don't ask if she's Indian. Don't ask, do you know of Indians in our family? We as Black people have this thing of saying, I got Indian in me, which makes no sense. Just say to her, Grandma, what kind of Indian are we? Oh, are we Cherokee? Are we Choctaw? She will tell you if you know. See, this information in their era was for the privileged. If you already knew, we could talk about it. But if you didn't know, we're not talking about it. I don't know what you're going to do with this information. It's sacred.
That's a very good point. I like that. That's a very good point. I've had a social experience where I've been walking up to older Black people in the grocery store and say, hey, how you doing? I'm Choctaw and Chickasaw. What kind of Indian are you? And I had an older Black lady walk to the end of the aisle and look and make sure nobody was listening before she told me she was Mohawk and Creole. Okay. But she didn't want nobody to know. So just know it's sacred information, but she'll share if you are in the know.
Okay.
You sound like you from my area.
Me?
I'm from California, but I just moved to Virginia, just south. There it is, right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she lost that California accent.
I'm tracing some family history.
She did, Dane.
Back here to Virginia.
You lost that California accent. Now you sounding like you from Virginia already.
Yep.
Well, when I was in California, they would tell me, you sound like your country. And I just grew up with my grandparents, so... my parents were there, but my grandparents were my best friends, so I grew up with them. So I think. So
you got an old soul.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I took it on.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's positive energy. That's how I look at it.
Dane, do
yes,
you
ma'am.
have any information about the Timucuna original people here in Jacksonville, Florida? Because I'm from here. I've been born and raised here, but I know my grandmother from Georgia. But the people here, they don't even know anything about it, and they classify as the Timucuna Native Americans as extinct. I believe they're the people here who in my areas, like in all these areas, and on top of that, come to find out, my husband was working out in Mayport, that one of those white people, he was my husband overheard him. He was saying that his grandfather owned this rich neighborhood called Queen Harbor, and it's built on top of a Native American cemetery. It's a lot of mounds here that we don't even know.
Back up. You said your family member?
No, no, my husband, he was working somewhere and he overheard, it's a conversation she probably ain't supposed to heard, but he heard one of the Caucasian guys saying that his grandfather had built some, these rich people, doctors and all that, they stay in this neighborhood. And it's like, you can't really go in this neighborhood unless you you gotta, if you work on the business, your business gotta have like a logo or something. Like anybody can't just go up.
You gotta be official.
They built this neighborhood on top of a Native American cemetery. A lot of people don't even know that here. Like, it's a lot of history that I'm learning on my own that people here don't even know. They don't even have a clue.
Oh, Florida got a lot. Man, Florida is it's like
older than the Egyptian pyramids. Like, I ran into a mound just going somewhere else in Florida for my birthday called Destin, Florida. It was a mound there, 7,000 years old. I took pictures of there.
It's a mound in Destin, Florida too.
It's mounds here in Jacksonville. They build all kinds of stuff on top of. Right here in Jacksonville, we got a lot of mounds here that they built stuff on top of. I found out after I went to somewhere else in Florida.
They did build on top of it because they didn't know about that technology. They just built on top of it. They didn't know what it was about.
Oh no, they precisely put these stuff on there. They know what they was doing. They know.
No, I'm talking about they didn't know about those mounds though. They didn't know what to do, so they built over top of them.
Oh, okay.
Like the same thing they did with the train tracks. They didn't know what that was about, so they built beside them. They created their own train line and ran it parallel to the ones that was already here.
Wow.
It's
and I think we got some in Jacksonville like that too. We got one that's been here for a long time. They stopped using.
They won't ever use the older ones, but they got something right next to it. That's everywhere. South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky.
All of the United States.
Up
all
and down,
your
baby.
Highways and freeways, your Route 66. These are all Indian trails.
All Indian trails.
Indian trails from the top of Canada all the way to the bottom of South Columbia.
Including Mississippi River. Including
and
the river.
Fun fact about Florida, if you look in the Bible in Genesis, when they talk about Noah's Ark, and he talks about they built the ark out of gopher wood. If you Google where gopher wood is indigenous to, you'll find out it's Florida.
Can I say something? Good morning.
Go ahead, brother.
So, Mr. Calloway, I just wanted to let you know that I was watching you like 3 a.m, right? I was having some difficulty sleeping, and I ain't go to sleep until the next day. I was locked in, right? The information that you got, I know some people are gonna disagree because
it is what it is.
He is white. Your maker's white. You would think your mother's white if you didn't see her. The information that you giving up, man, I hope you protect it. And I'm talking from the street side, the government side.
Oh yeah, no, I'm backed up. I know what you mean. I got it on. Yeah, if they get rid of me, other people got it. I did that in 2017, brother. I'm not playing.
I was at the airport, right? I'm remodeling the airport. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. That's probably why I couldn't sleep. And the Spanish kid said he was white. And I'm like, dude, you ain't even white. You from Mexico. You never heard of the Olmec people? He was like, Olmec people. I was like, yo, you got people in your land that's darker than you. Costa Rica, Venezuela, Honduras. And he was demeaning. He was like, yo, you don't know what you're talking about. Then he turned around and asked the white man. I was like, ask him if you white. And the white dude was like, nah, he's not white.
But they're being called that in the census. The Hispanics, the so-called Hispanics are being labeled as white on the census.
So they can get that bread. And in the school system, the higher learning. So when you check that box, you're like, yeah, I'm white, they're getting a certain amount of money. But I just wanted to tell this to the people.
It's a status, it's not a color.
Status, yeah. I was in South Carolina, right, on this Army base. And it took me to a little nice hotel for my B-Day, right? But prior to that, she took me to this, it's like a reservation. There's black folks on there. And they had their not mausoleums, but the people that they buried was above ground.
Yeah.
In these boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yo, they don't even come and touch us. We just do what we do. This is what the lady explained to me.
Where that was?
She was like, you see this?
My bad.
That sound like the Carolinas right there.
Yeah, the city.
Yeah, it was like because I ain't have we was going to the Army base, so I ain't have my pistol.
What Army base?
Going to this road. I couldn't. It's off the 77.
That got to be Fort Jackson. That's Fort Jackson. That's here in Columbia.
Yeah, that sound like the way he described it when they burying above ground. That's the Carolinas.
Yeah, that got to be Fort Jackson.
So she said, the lady explained to me that, and correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe you know something I don't know. She said that the whole Harriet Tubman story, she didn't run up north. That was back and forth to Florida. She was going back and forth to Florida, and she was like, how would this one lady slide up all the way to the north when you can't even, with your navigation system in your vehicle, you'll still get lost on the highway.
Yeah, man.
It was nothing but food. So as I started thinking, I'm like, yo, you think the people lied about the slave trade? This is me talking out loud during our drive back. You think these people lying about the slave trade? Because how could you go across and yap up Africans and come back? But where's the food coming from? You get seasick. Like if you travel now on a cruise, and you got 1,000 people on the ship, that ship is fully loaded. Yeah, maybe 4 days at sea, but how are you not getting sick? And where did these people get the food to come back?
And I'm gonna add to your point. I'm gonna add to your point. Like I'm just trying to understand why people can't fathom where I'm coming from. Like, all you're doing is critical thinking. Make it make sense. If white folks had no clue about Africa or where these people were, their languages, their culture, etc., how were they able to capture these Africans? How long did it take? Number one, what did they do? Did they hide behind bushes? Oh, come on, y'all. All right, let's go get them one at a time. Let's go. Like, come on, be real here. Like, how you think Africans can't handle themselves? Like, y'all trying to make it seem like Africans can't handle them. Like, come on. You see a complete stranger standing there looking at you, they're gonna go get them.
You telling me you went across seas and yapped 1 million Africans up? Nah.
And they came from Europe. So they came from Europe, traveled all the way to West Africa just to capture Africans, to travel all the way to South America. And they still alive that whole time. Not one scratch. You were out of your mind. That ain't happening right now.
I just wanted to ask them, who were the Africans? Because at that time, Black people wasn't known as the Africans. Just because you spell it different, the Africans was like an ethnic group that came from, I think, German, Belgium, and France, and they white, and they speak Africans, and they in South America.
They speak Afrikaans, and it's called Afrikaans, and they were called Afrikaners. You're correct.
So I think that it's like that they do double speak and legal. So who were the Africans at that time? Because I saw pictures.
Nah, Tiff, they gotta tell me who did that, Tiff. They gotta stop with the this, that, and tell me who did it. Who should we be holding up as king right now that was able to successfully capture Africans and bring them to a whole nother continent that they had nothing about? Why is that person not in a museum held up high? Who is
why
that?
They never talk about King Leopold and the 10 million Africans in the Congo, and did they ever brought them Africans over? Why they never talk about them?
And why don't we ever talk about the fact that there are actual slave manifests, that this country kept great records, and that there were 388,000 quote unquote slaves brought to this country, but the conversion of Indian to Negro was 4.2 million. These are actual numbers that you can look up on slave manifests and on your census report. So regardless of the stories and the fairy tales and the folk tales, we can actually look at the manifest.
That's exactly what they are. I'm glad she said that. That's exactly what they are. And we arguing about fairy tales.
Where I'm from in Jacksonville, Florida, look up the Mandarin Massacre. Well, how they saying how the natives here was getting them colonizers off their land, and they describe the description of them. And I think they even probably got pictures. But these people, they look like us. They call them Native Americans, and they describe how they look. Mandarin Massacre. Look that up. And like he said, in Florida, we got some of the oldest mounds in the world here. So that just nipped all that in the bud.
What was that again, sister? Name that again.
Indian Mound Temple got in, but the what I was talking about is the Mandarin Massacre. The Mandarin Massacre, right here in Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm from.
If you ever been in Disney World, I swear some of them buildings in there are older, and they just look like that. I think it was like Mickey Mouse. It looked like the Oriental. It used to be an Oriental theater. Them buildings just look older. That tower, they just look older. And somebody told me their family owned the land that Disney World was on.
I believe that.
Good morning, everybody.
How you?
I'm good. I'm honored to be here this morning. I'm just going to sway the conversation just back a little bit. I don't know who the beautiful woman who spoke a little while ago, and she broke it down in terms of how it's like sacred knowledge to know certain things. Talking to the elders. I have one living grandmother, actually the last grandparent. She's 89 years old, and it is hard getting information out of her. She becomes a stone, and I know just looking at her, she's this little short woman, and when I look at her, I know that's you know, something indigenous. It's nothing, anything remotely close to looking like an African phenotype or whatever. So trying to get information from her is hard. She's given me certain things, but enough for me to hit a cold trail. So it's really messy, like going back, and she's very protective of her past, which I respect, and I'm trying not to disrespect her.
Something must have happened.
Yes, I know it. It's so bad. I know it's bad because you can feel it. So with the woman that spoke and said that, you know, when you approach her, just don't say, do we have Indian in our family? Ask her what kind of Indian she is, or, you know, indigenous person she is, or whatever.
Oh, are we? Say so, we. Include yourself.
We. Okay. All right. We. So it hurts so bad because I lost my mom a little over 2.5 years ago, and she left here not knowing. She wanted to know, but the same thing, my grandmother has outlived so many people in my family, so I'm at a standstill here.
What state, if you don't mind?
From what I know, it's like murky information. I'm originally from Chicago, but my grandmother, you know how, you know, Chicagoans, we have southern draws. I'm seeing, what I've come to know is Little Rock, Arkansas and Pulaski, Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
But I can't find anything. I mean, when I say I hit a brick road or a brick wall in this, a cold trail, that's what it is.
What year?
I can't go on. My grandmother was born, my grandmother told me she was born in 1932. But going back, I've been dipping into the census records. I can't find anything for her, like besides like marriage records and all of that. But when it comes to the census, no. I kind of like think they were dodging or knew how to dodge the census people, because I can't find her or her mother. Also, they had the various name changes. My grandmother has changed her birth year like 3 different times. It's getting kind of crazy and dark because there's some more children that's popped up. So my grandmother, she's a gangster, okay? Look, this woman goes to church and has a hatchet, like a mini hatchet, axe in her purse, sitting. She's a mother on the church pew.
I don't see nothing wrong with that. If somebody step out of line, I mean,
yeah,
get it, Grandma.
That
also really just lets you know that there's a lot of childhood trauma there.
Yes,
we don't really
something happened.
That,
and I don't
we don't consider the fact that these were, when the time period that we're talking about, they were probably 10 and under.
Yes.
And that's stuff that you carry with you your whole life. So if you're carrying a hatchet around, somebody hurt you or hurt your family.
Yeah, something happened. Like the time period between the top of the 1900s until the end of the 1940s is when a lot of the threats were happening, where people were claiming Indian. It was definitely during that time period where people, I mean, it's not going to be hard, but you do need a tad bit more information. Like, are you familiar with her, did she ever mention her mother's name or father's name?
She, as far as the father, she told me that her mother gave her her stepfather's last name. And she told me also that her mother, she thought her mother's name was one thing until the day of her funeral. I think they had like a really rocky history there, you know, as far as how life went. I think my grandmother, I know for sure she had a hard life. My grandmother has done time also in the penitentiary. The same penitentiary that where Martha Stewart was held. My grandmother was there for like 3.5 years, and she left behind 5 children. My mother was the oldest that I know of. And
I'm not gonna lie, I would love to watch a video on her. I mean, I would love to know what happened. And she gonna be the one to know.
I need help because this is my last living grandparent. You know, this is my mother's mother.
You said she's 89.
She's 89 that I know of, because the years of her, she changed them. I know it was easier for them to maneuver back then because of no technology. You know, you can't, track them the way that they knew how to hide. I'm just gonna say that they knew how to hide well. No, that I know of. No.
Because that might have been the reason why they kept changing her name or her birth date, was to remove her from her land. So you want to check that as well. Okay. I would also say that you would want to videotape the conversation with your grandmother, because you're going to want to have that for your children and for your grandchildren, so they can see and hear her voice.
That I would love, that's a great idea, and I would try to do that, but it's hard to talk to her to get it. I can talk to her. I can articulate fine. It's just her trying to get it out.
Make her feel comfortable. Like, what do you like? She gotta, because her sister, hear me out. She got a lot. She got a lot, and apparently she been holding it in.
Yeah.
For a long time, and I wish I was there personally.
I do too.
I wish I was there personally.
I do too.
Because I let her see me in my face, eye to eye, to let her get that out.
Yeah.
And give her all sorts of hugs and kiss. I'm not trying to be funny neither.
No, I'm listening.
Some of them elders need love now, because they've been through a hell of a lot. And for you to bring up that past, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to steer you away from not doing it. It does need to get done, and just some type of way you gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta come up with see, I don't know her, you know what I mean? But you gotta come up with something, because she got it. I'm not gonna lie, she got it, and she know what's going on. With her being 89, she know what's up.
Yeah, because I was getting discouraged until, the young lady said that this sacred knowledge, and I just know with my grandmother, it's all about approach. She's a fiery woman. She's an Aries, okay? And
she an Aries too? Yeah, they don't play that shit.
Yes. So it's a certain approach. Like,
okay. And you a Virgo?
I'm a Gemini.
You a Gemini? Lord have mercy.
But I know it's all about getting her comfortable, just like you said. But what I want her to know is, because like I said, I want to respect. If you don't want to tell me anything about you, all I really want the information for is her mother. Like, where did her mother stem from? What regional area? Because
I got an idea. It just came to me. Write down your questions that you want. So when maybe you tell her it's for, maybe she'll understand if you, I'm not trying to say lie to her. Let me not advise that. But I mean, something to kind of make her feel comfortable to explain. Nah, don't lie to her.
What I would suggest is that you say to her, absolutely, Dane is right. You write down the questions. I have if you follow me, I'll send you, I have a 10 list of questions to do these interviews. But you'll definitely want to start it with letting her know that first you're going to ask her what kind of Indian. You got to catch her off guard with that. And then when she gives you that look like, who are you? Are you the feds? You have to then say to her that I've been researching this, and I understand how painful it is. I understand that it was sacred, and that this is information that we don't really share. But Grandma, my generation is coming back. And we are coming to make sure that these wrongs are righted. We are going to fight. She's obviously a fighter. She carries a machete.
Yeah.
Let her know we are on our way, and I'm going to fight for you. And I'm going to make sure that we write this for our family. Make her feel secure that this information, it's going to be held sacred.
Sacred.
I'm going to pass it only through our family if you want me to. Whatever you tell me, I won't repeat if you don't want me to repeat it. But I have to know, because I want my grandchildren to know where we came from. And tell her try to find out a little bit about her that she doesn't know talk to your mom. So you can tell her, I heard you were from here.
To start off the convo.
Yeah, so she knows you're interested in her. And tell her, Grandma, when you're gone, who am I going to be able to tell that my grandma is?
because they, my auntie and my uncle pissed her off because it was all about the approach. And she told them, I'll take it to my grave. So I'm like, you guys got to learn how to chill and just sit back because, sometimes our people don't know how to, talk, communicate without the emotions. Me, I'm an emotionalist. I've learned to balance out my emotions. I just don't want to ruffle her feathers in terms that she'll look at me in the same light and say, hey,
take your time, don't rush it. Definitely make sure you're recording it though. Don't forget that because you need that for later on to, to verify what she's saying by way of documentation. I was squeezing a lot of questions some type of way. You want to know dates, locations, anything, any and everything that she know you want. But definitely don't ask her open-ended questions where she just saying yes or no. You want to keep the conversation going.
Open-ended, okay.
Yes, and it may take several conversations. You may have to spend a little time.
That's true.
Go take her to eat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
She likes money.
I agree with that. You said she liked the dress?
And she likes money. One of the sharpest old women I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, I mean, Aries about that money. I mean, that's a given. It's almost like they were born like that.
Yeah, her mind is sharp. I've never seen anything like it before. I look at it I'm in Ohio now, and I came down here with my mom, and my grandmother did too. Just a small patch of us from Chicago, but my grandmother, looking at the pictures from 05 and her pictures now, it looks like she's aged backwards, and I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, I don't know what we are, what tribe or whatever. I don't know if that's okay to say, where we're from, what our lineage is, but that bloodline is something special about it because, most of us melanated people have those, high cheekbones, but it's so prevalent when you see her, so. So I'm going to take my time on it or whatever. I've just been I just needed somebody to tell that to because it is not easy talking to people when they're not like-minded, in terms of trying to, because, it flies over a lot of people's heads. They're not thinking about stuff like that. They're thinking about what they're going to eat or, right. What's the latest shoe or whatever they want to get or game, not trying to,
or the latest challenge
or whatever, something, the crate challenge, so I'm really trying to dig in this stuff because I know there's been questions I've had since I'm 44 years old now. There's been questions I've had since I was a little girl that nobody seems to can answer, but they never left my mind. So now, going through this, it's like it kind of tap, it resonates. It resonates, and we know there's been a lot of lies told. I was telling my daughter, I said, even if we don't get the land back, at least we know who we are.
Right.
These people have
no.
everything.
We gonna get this land back now.
Okay.
I'm gonna fight for this.
Say that. I'm gonna speak that into existence.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna be careful in how I speak. So yes, we're gonna get it back. We're gonna get it back.
They're gonna have to come up off for this.
I've always wanted to know who we were.
Yes, ma'am, and don't give up even though it's hard, but I do highly recommend that you kind of butter her up. Let her know everything is okay. Let her know how much you love her. And you need her. You need to have you definitely have to have an interview with her because she is very knowledgeable with her being that wise and that, man. Yes. Something happened. I would love to know what happened. I'm not gonna lie, sister. If you do get that,
stay on this.
Okay.
Don't go trying to suck information out of her. You have to literally spend genuine time. You want to become friends with her.
Yeah. Does she live near you?
Become friends.
Yeah, pretty much. My grandson's about 10 minutes away.
Oh yeah. What?
She's about 10, 15 minutes.
Ain't like she an hour or two away. I mean, even an hour, I was still do it. But I'm just saying, that's good that she's not that far away. But she's right. Develop that trust, develop that bond right there, and yeah, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. In fact, I'm gonna mention you in my affirmations later on. I'm gonna make sure it works.
Thank you. I appreciate it, because this one right here, it hits hard. Oh,
I already know.
Half of us are left.
No. Y'all still here now. Y'all still here. Don't say that.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying, as far as in the,
in the physical realm. I mean, they still here too. Their spirit live on.
They're still here. Absolutely. I talk to my mom. I make sure I keep my mom, here with me.
Right.
Guide me through.
You see how I try to keep people up. When I hear them say a little bit of negative, I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. I'm on you.
Yep. I'm working on it. I am working.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, sister. I'm not beating you up on nothing, sister. Don't take that the wrong way.
No, it's okay. Absolutely not. It's all love. It is all love. I promise you.
I don't want nobody to give up just because it's hard. And I know it's hard, but I don't want y'all to give up on that just because of that, because obstacles get in the way. That's just like when you at work and you got to do a job and you want to quit, goddamn it, because it's so hard, or you're tired. Yeah. Don't give up. How you gonna pay the bills? I'm just saying,
Right. I hear you.
Don't give
loud
up.
and clear. I won't. I just needed to let that out.
No,
it's like I don't want it to implode.
Nah, sister, this is what honestly, this is why I'm here. To have conversations like this, because a lot of people do not get a chance to get it out. And I was in that same boat before, even though I had help with my family members, but my aunt passed away, so I had to do a lot of this on my own. Even though she did the majority, I had to do a lot of things on my own without her guidance. And my grandmother passed too, so it was kind of difficult for me. My grandfather's left, and and he up there too in that age, and I know how it is, and he a rough one on top of that, so I know I can relate to that. I got lucky and started asking the right questions, start opening up and Lord have mercy, he hate when I do this, but I call him a walking library. He can't stand that I do that.
That is truly what they are.
Yeah. He was around when the prices of gasoline was 20 cents.
Ooh.
And it's a lot of rich history that our elders have, and a lot of them are holding it up, like holding it back. Let me say it that way, not holding it up, just holding it back. Just cause something could have happened. And you'll see. I once again, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna add you to my affirmations. Aisha, correct? Is that pronounced?
Yeah, perfect.
Aisha, okay.
Yeah, perfect.
I do believe that is one of the biggest reasons for all of the, I say pandemic death in our rest homes and with our elderly, is because they know that the history is in our people.
Yeah.
They're not writing our story. And so our people hold the history. And if you wipe out those people that are here before 1940, a lot of that information will be lost.
Especially before 1940. That's the key. If anything, if y'all take any word from me right now, go back further than 1940. If you don't believe me, fine. Just go back in your family's your family's records, and go back before 1940. Keep going.
Just by what I've run across, I know what you speak of is factual.
Wow. May I?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Greetings, Grand Rising, everyone. Thank you for having me. I was fortunate to finally get past the I guess 18 or go before 1860. And oh my goodness, I'm wondering if
I can't wait to hear this. Let me hear what you got. You said 1850?
I went past that or before that, and it's seeming like they probably changed the birth date of one of my greats like way back up. It's a possibility because I did find the name of him, that name, on one of the Indian roll census.
Somebody took the spot.
And I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, it's his name, but I don't know how to get further into information on more connection.
What census? What census are you referring to? What year is that?
It was Oklahoma.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I found the Oklahoma, and it actually, I was just messing around, and I typed in something, and I had never been able to get that far or any type of document.
Oh, you ran into it by mistake.
Right.
Did you print it off?
I printed it. I saved it so I could print it. But I'm just concerned because one of our family member who gives the family reunion every year supposedly does the research. Stopped with him at being born in 1860, possibly 1859. So somebody doesn't have accurate information on giving us, the leads to whatever it is pertaining to him. So I'm not sure. The last name is Brown. I know it's a very popular name.
Hold on, wait. Okay, so is the census indicating in 1859 that he was the Okay.
Actually, 1836. The census said he was on there at 1836.
What age?
I think it says like 40 something.
40 something.
Yeah.
We got to go back again. Go. Oh, you right there. You kind of like. You're right there. You right there where you need to be. But I need to know. Okay. This is a male, correct? That you're referring to?
Yes.
What about his mother?
Can't find anything on his mother or father. I'm believing that something happened where somebody had to been murdered because.
Why you say that?
Or kidnapped or sold or something, because when I look at if it's actually his true date of birth, 1860, or that's just what they're going off of, at 11 years old, it doesn't show any real signs of him living with his mom or his father.
Because if he was on a census at 12, they usually indicate the parents.
Yeah, so that's why I said this is really tricky. I know I'm finding something. Somebody could have lied about the birth date, perhaps, or there's another Reuben in between. I don't know. It's real tricky, but I'm telling you, I'm not stopping. And you guys are. Really
I need to see. Are you on Instagram?
I am, but I don't do a lot on Instagram. I can actually send my my email if you don't mind. I kind of stay a little back.
It goes to my email team. I mean, they could still send it to me, but I much rather it be direct. Some type of. What else are you on?
Okay, I'm on Facebook.
Oh no, they blocked me from Facebook.
Oh goodness. Okay, well I could go to your Instagram. Let me see. Can I get to your Instagram from this page here?
I have no idea, hon. If you're on an app. It should be. I don't know. Are you on the computer or are you on the cell phone?
I'm on my cell phone.
The Instagram is a totally separate app. But
no, I have an app, but I'm saying that did you do your Instagram page on this Clubhouse so where I can just click on there and
no,
it comes right up?
Nah, I didn't link it to my Instagram account. But my Instagram account is I'm just here to make you think.
Okay.
And like you'll see the same picture, it'll pop right up. I forgot how many followers I have on there. You'll be able to see. Okay. You'll be able to see. But if you DM me, I want to see what you got. Okay. And don't hold back, sis. I'm not gonna be putting your information out there, and I'm not asking for your credit card, social security number. I'm just trying to help you out because you right there, and I really need to see where you at to give you the right guidance.
All praises. I appreciate that. Definitely. I'm looking you up right now on here. Actually, that I am here to make you think. All that is on your profile page on Clubhouse. So I'm gonna send a text message.
I mentioned it, but I didn't link it. Like meaning, you know what I mean? I didn't they allow you to link your accounts in this app. I don't know this app like that to be linking. Like I gotta sign in with my password and everything. I'm like, nah, no thank you, not right now. I don't know, you know, no thank you. But hit me now. And what's your name on there so I can know?
Tafara.
Hold on. Are you doing it now? I'm gonna push you to my front right now. I'm gonna push you to my priority.
Okay. Thank you.
And then just send that over to me as soon as you're ready. Okay. And I'll have it. It's gonna pop right up in my priority inbox. Hold on 1 second. Let me go to it real quick. Just in fact, just say anything right now to me on Instagram because my inbox is crazy right now, and I gotta push you to the front, literally, or I'm gonna miss it.
Okay, I'm gonna go there right. It looks like I'm going to your website.
Instagram. It's only Instagram because my website is like, once again, that's gonna take you to my team's email.
Okay, yeah, it sent me right there. So let me go. Bear with me. They kicked you off of Facebook? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they kicked me off of there in 2018. They kicked me off.
You was telling too much of the truth.
Yeah, they blocked me for 30 days, didn't give me no warning, no email. Then as soon as I got, as soon as that suspension was finished, they blocked me again for 60 days. As soon as that one was finished, then they permanently blocked me. That was it. I didn't get a chance to get, nothing. I couldn't post, I couldn't do anything. They just shut it down. And blocked me from live streaming as soon as they bought Instagram. So I can't live stream on Instagram.
See, that's kind of why I stay off of those platforms, because I don't want them to be trying to shut me down for anything that I have to say. I think I got a warning from them one time on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay.
Tawana?
No, Tafara is TIP.
Oh, no, that's not you. This is somebody else.
Okay. You might, this one is going to probably have my logo with Made So Modestly, because I make clothes. I sew my own clothes, so.
I'm waiting. I'm ready right now. But it's I thought this was you. Wait.
It's just going slow. I'm sorry.
No, you good. No, I'm gonna help this young lady out too. She's asking for some, like, basically. Okay, hold on. Let me push her to the front. Okay.
They do not want you to easily find your own here, boy, I tell you.
But yeah, I would need to see those. If you don't mind, you could just screenshot. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. I could tell what's going on.
Okay.
Now for something I can't see, I may need you to take another one, get a little close for me with some light. Because I want to tell you the most accurate information possible. I don't want to, I'm not going to steer you wrong when it comes to genealogy.
Okay, here you go. Finally, they did not, I'll tell you. Okay, here you go. I'm following you.
Tawana, if you're in the audience and you're listening, I'm going to push you to the front. Actually, I just did it now. So just, you're in my primary. Give me a second. Let me, I'll wait for this young lady now. And we'll be able to conversate back and forth.
Okay, I put greetings. We are in Clubhouse.
Yeah, I'm waiting on it now.
Okay, there we go.
Hi, can I go next?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Stacy. I talked to you like the last time, and I was trying to find my grandfather's deed. If you look at my PTR, that's it. And like I said, I can't really decipher it, but that's what I got. What I found online. That's what I found. That he had the 55 acres. So that was it.
Wait a minute. Wait, huh? Like, okay, say it one more time. Say it one more time.
This is when, like, you was on here the last time, and I was telling you about I was from Tennessee, and both of my grandparents was from here, one of my dad's side of the family, he's the Lurie. He's the one that migrated from camp in North Carolina, and he married to Tennessee like in 1820. I'd say between 1810 to 1820. And that's what baffled me, because I was like, hold up. If this slavery thing was what they said it was, like, why did this dude migrate further south? Why didn't he go north? It was so free and everything. So, and then he stayed. He literally stayed. It was, I want to say 1820 was the next time I saw him in Tennessee.
That's high up right there. You went way back. That's very good.
So, and then
you should know who your people are right now.
Yeah, I'm here with my people. My dad lives in the same area. The PCR, that would have been my great grandfather. So that's my dad's grandfather, and he stayed in the same area and everything. And I do too. And it's crazy. I'm like, it was just mind boggling. But that's the grandfather that has the 55 acres of land, and I don't really know.
He's still alive?
No, he passed like in 73. Interesting, his wife, whose also name is on there too, her name is Josie Lurie. She passed in like 60, they passed like 8 years apart. So she passed in like the 60s, he passed in the 70s.
I wonder if he passed that land down to somebody.
And that's the only thing. That's how, when I asked my dad, because he got startled when I said that. He said, "Girl, how you know about that?" And I was like, "Well, Dad, I was being nosy, and I was looking to see if Grandpa Pops would have had land, and I found that." And he said, "Yep, that was he had a farm and a house in that area." It's and like
did he say what he did with it?
I have no idea. My dad was like, "Well, I was a teenager, so I don't know. Grown folks didn't tell children, what was going on." And I said, "Yeah, and I was like, "Dang!" So that's when I got to, like, oh man, I need to figure out what happened.
Now you need that deed.
That's the deed right there.
Oh, you got the deed.
Yeah, that's in my PCR. If you click, that's the deed.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. What's your name?
Stacy.
Hold on, let me scroll down. Oh, sis, I don't see a Stacy in here. Hold on, who talked? Where you at? I don't even. Oh, here you go.
I might be at the bottom.
No, you at the bottom. I'm sorry. I'm on the. I'm not on the app. I'm on the desktop version. Hold on, let me look at this again. On this desktop version, it doesn't bring it to me. Hold on. Can I go like, nope. All right, it doesn't bring it up close. Can anybody else see her deed? I can't really, it's not zooming in for me.
Cell phone. You definitely can see
I'm not on a cell phone.
I can see it, but you can't really see it clear, but it's there.
It's a deed? Is it a deed?
It looks like it's a deed. It definitely has the writing.
Definitely look like it.
Yeah, I can see.
Man, look, you may need to now. I mean, with you having a deed, does it indicate that it was sold to anybody else? Was there anybody's name on there?
So it when you go on the website, because it's on the Tennessee land website, and it was like a bank.
A bank took it? You could get that back.
It was like and the bank is still here.
You could get that back. As long as that wasn't sold, you could get that back. If the bank confiscated it and for whatever reason, they didn't have a right to do that. As long as he didn't sell it.
No, he didn't sell that land, period. I know he didn't sell it. My dad didn't say, "Oh, they sold it." He never said anything about that.
Hold on, sis, can you
I don't think he sold it.
Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, I am.
Can you DM me that, please, so I can really see it? I really need to see if that's a deed, because if that's a deed, you got a case right now.
Yeah, I can DM it right now. Yep. I got your files on my phone, so just in case. I sure can. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's all I wanted.
Man, look. I'll hop on that. 55 acres, that's a lot of land. And you said it's right there where you at?
In Tennessee, and I've been wanting to farm and learn how to do that stuff anyway. So it would be great to my family that, you know, this is our land. So yeah, but I would definitely be in for you.
Send it to me, sis. Send it to me right now. Let me check. Let me see what's on there. I'm not gonna post your personal stuff. I'm not that type of person. And I don't need your social security number and credit card information. Do not send it to me.
Will you confirm that you received my from an Instagram? This is Tafari, y'all, and you will probably get it from my Instagram account, which is Made So Modestly.
Hold on a minute.
Good morning. I have something if I may.
Yeah, I got you, sister. It says Tip Farah, yeah. You talking about that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that. This right here, right now. I put it in my primary right now.
Okay.
I have a few last names I would like to run past you, Dane, if I may.
Sure.
All right. So I've been doing some research, and I've been able to find my third grandfather removed, Robert Fairfax, and it just all the way back to Virginia.
Oh man, Fairfax, Virginia, baby.
Yes, and when I get to Virginia past him, the only Fairfaxes I can find, of course, came from England. So he's on the census born in 1805, 1807.
Damn, you went way back. Okay.
But past that, I can't.
Nah, that's gonna be hard now. When you, I mean, that's gonna be difficult. I'm not gonna lie. But now you're gonna have to go to Fairfax County. You Fairfax. Well, that's actually too far back. You may have to go. You may have to check with the National Archives now. Now you're back there. Now you're back there. Now, National Archives may give you some trouble in Virginia because of how strict Virginia is. They only want you to deal with Virginia. You may have to go. I would check with the county and see. Push come to shove, you may have to go to the National Archives now. Now you're up high. You're hot now. You're hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I haven't, of course, found a tribe yet. I haven't connected to a tribe on my mother's side. But my father can remember us being Seminole. I'm based in Georgia. Well, they're both from Georgia, Dooley County, and then they moved to Miami, Florida. So they back and forth. He can remember an uncle of his, Uncle Red Buddy, going back and forth to Florida. So Whitehead, Bivin, Lewis, the last names, but he can remember his aunt being Seminole, but they only called her Beauty. He doesn't have a name that I can trace on.
Damn, somebody told me that. I remember hearing that before. Somebody called, maybe that was just a different person. I remember somebody telling me that though. They were, their elder was called, they named her, or they nicknamed her Beauty. Somebody told, I remember seeing that in the comments at my YouTube channel. But
okay.
So 1800s. Now that's far.
Yes.
1, 2. You should have known based off of their location, especially before slavery was so-called abolished. Where were they located? Because apparently they stayed stationary until when?
Until they were in Virginia. He moved from Virginia. Now that I don't know, because I know he was born, according to the census, he was born in Virginia in 1805. Then this census is in Houston County, Georgia, which is close to Dooley County.
Oh, okay. So on the 1800 census, are they indicating his mother and father?
No. See, so on this census, the 18 1870 in the 1860 census, it states that his birthday is 1805. So he's there independent, and he's 60-some years old.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so
I thought you had the 1800 census.
Right. See,
okay.
The 1800 census.
Now that changes up what I was about to say next. So now, okay, now I know where you are. So now you need to go. Okay, basically you're in 1870 because that's the census that you have. Now you will have to go 1860, 1850. You need to see what happened in the census. What were they labeling themselves as, or what were they marked down as? It's going to be easier for you because they didn't migrate to another state until after that time period, correct? Until after 1870? Correct. Yeah, yes. Stay in Virginia. Virginia's not that hard. They just give you a hard time, but Virginia's not that hard to track the records, especially that county. If they're in Fairfax County, you could go all the way back to 1850.
So and then he is in Rockbridge.
Okay.
I'm not certain.
No,
the last name is Fairfax.
Yeah, no, they all closely. I know that area. That's all together. Okay. They all tight knit. I know that area. I used to work in Fairfax, Franconia, all that area, that whole area.
Okay.
That they're all close. They're all close. Look at all that land. Look at all that land.
Wow.
You might find something too. Be looking out for that too. You might run into a deed with his last name being Fairfax. Or he could have worked for somebody with that last name. You should see that too, but we really gonna know once you go further back. You basically need to go back 20 more 20 more years. I'm gonna say 20 more years to really find out, because you say he was in his 60s at that time. Yes. Come back. We need to see what happened during his younger years.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hit me on Instagram if you have any question with anything. I mean, I hope you got one. I hope you got an Instagram. But I should be able to remember that. Fairfax County, I remember that.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. I have a question for the panel. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Candace, and I'm actually trying to find out, or where do I start as far as finding my lineage?
With you? You start with you. And then you work it.
Yes, sir.
You grab, y'all, come on, y'all. I don't want, now don't take me wrong. I know sometimes I could sound like I'm being, don't take anything what I'm saying the wrong way, okay? I'm gonna just say that up front. But you could definitely start with you. I suggest that you start with you and work your way back. What you need are marriage certificates, death certificates if applicable, birth certificates if applicable. You get the county records, court records, any and all records. The military records if they were involved in the military. If they were Christians involved in some type of a church, Baptist, Methodist, you'll see all that. Those records are being tracked. Especially with members of churches, and certain historic churches. In what state are you referring to?
Arkansas.
That shouldn't be hard.
That my family migrated from North Carolina to Arkansas.
Okay.
And I have documents from 1946 of a church that was on some land that my family owned, and there is a cemetery somewhere that cannot be found, and
interesting,
it stops right there. But about 5 years ago, one of my cousins came to my dad and said that there was land that this church was trying to buy, and the grandfather that nobody knew about, like great grandfather that no one knew about, his name is Marshall Burton, and the land was still in his name. And
in the 1940s?
He goes back further than 1940, and it stops, like it's at a dead end right there. It's like 18 something, and it stops right there. And apparently nobody even knew of the land until my cousin came to the house talking about this church trying to buy the land. And what they were trying to do, because they said there were still, because my dad just turned 69. And because there's still heirs to that land, it could not be sold. So they were trying to go to everyone that were that are descendants of this land.
He had a trust.
Trying to get them. Yeah.
He had a trust. That's very good. That means he was very intelligent. Shout out to him. Now that means that land. Okay, it could be. Wow, I can't. It's so many different ways that. I'm trying to think of the best one. We really need to know about his story. We really need to know. We got to look at some records. We got to look at some records, and we got to pull that trust. We got to see what's in there. We got to see what he owned. A lot of his property was inside of that trust that lawyer is coming to y'all about. In fact, you need to get in contact with that lawyer.
Okay.
Stay on his ass, excuse me, because he got, whoever that is, that's your family member, got something, because that lawyer's coming to y'all about it. And he might have wrote a will. Did he mention a will?
He hasn't said anything other than trying to get them, my parents, or my dad and his sisters and brothers and descendants that still have ties to this land to try to sell it.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's trying to...
rights to this land. Yeah.
That's the state coming at y'all.
Okay.
All right, so, okay. Oh, we need to get this, because I know y'all don't want to sell it. And don't sell it, because it could be worth some money. You know how many acres it is? Roundabout?
It's the last time I heard anything, it had to be like 85 acres.
Oh my Lord, come on.
I do know that there was, it has been tied up in court because a cousin that, well, she's not a cousin, but she portrayed herself to be. And she forged some documents because there was oil wells dropped on the land and there was oil that they were pulling from the ground. And so it's been tied up in court for almost 10 years now. And we don't know how to go about it. Trying to get it back, or the royalties that have been paid out has not been coming to my family.
Excuse me. Hold on. Royalties?
There were royalties that have been paid out, like millions, and we don't know where that money is going. Stop.
Are you on Instagram?
I am.
I need all that.
Okay.
And what state are you located in?
Arkansas.
I might have to make a trip.
Can I say something really quick?
Go ahead.
The same situation that's happening to you, sis. My cousin is an heir for some Texas oils and stuff. The same thing. Now, what they're doing to my cousin is chipping her off kibbles and bits. My aunt.
Yeah, that's what they have been doing to us.
They're trying to keep y'all quiet.
Like $20 here.
They're trying to keep y'all quiet.
Listen, when I first heard about my cousin doing this, I had no knowledge of any of this stuff. Dane and everyone who has been bringing this information out. The ancestors immediately told me that was fraud, that was off, and she needs to dig deeper. She is living in poverty right now, while someone could be doing the same exact thing, have collected millions.
That's a lot of people, believe it or not, sister.
I know, like, all praises. Thank you, Dane, for just being doing your due diligence and being someone that we can come to, because everybody don't learn and study the same way. Everybody is not going to be able to receive it how we're getting it. So sometimes when you're breaking it down and delivering it to us that way, I'm telling you, it brings a whole world of people waking up. So I thank you again.
And I thank you for sharing. I mean, y'all didn't have to do that. I'm gonna try my hardest to help you the best way that I can. Keep in mind, I can't give you legal advice, but I'm gonna tell you what I know from experience and what I suggest, and it's up to you to take it from there. Now, if you want me there, we're gonna have to talk personally. Okay. I mean, I hope some people get. I'm not gonna lie. I could brag about it. I did help a few people get their land back. I could brag. Okay, I can't. But on a personal note, me and you gonna have to talk on a personal note. I need to see if what we fighting against. If it's the government, it's gonna be a fight, and it ain't gonna be no overnight thing. I can tell you that right now.
Right.
But
I got a question.
Keep in contact with me, sis. I'm sorry, brother. Let me just let her know, sis. I really need to know that one, especially if they already getting royalties. That we need to. Yes, sir. I need that. We need to see what's going on. That's
She would have to do a freedom of information on whoever's and all's involved with that property, whoever's handling whatever documents you have. You want them, the agencies that's reporting anything, you have to get a freedom of information from them, and that will disclose who's been getting what.
Yeah, I would. Oh man, man, you could be sitting on a gym. I need to see what you got right now. And you said 85 acres. That's
85 acres, and it's been split up between 10 children. My dad's family are his brothers and sisters, and when they pass on, it's automatically aired out to
the children.
Yeah, that's in his will. Apparently, that sounds like a will is involved. I need to. I mean, sis, if you want me involved, let's go. But I'm gonna tell you right now, this might get messy. And I'm talking about what your family say, because once they see that there's money involved, people change.
Yes.
So I'm forewarning you right now that it's gonna get messy.
Okay.
Do you know my family also has land in Mississippi? And my great-grandfather left the land to the family, like 159 acres.
Stop.
Now, yes. Now, the elder sister, they're still alive, and her children are still alive, and they're trying to sell like 80 acres. So one of the chiefs that I know was trying, and this was last year, was trying to work with her for the same situation where folks is trying to pull oil out and everything so that the family can receive the royalties, obviously. He said he can work it to where the family will receive, possibly, instead of just selling it for 2.3 or wanting 2.3 million for like 80 acres. Well, he was proposing that we can get that monthly within the family, because he was like, I guaranteed you that there's oil, there's some kind of minerals, resources underneath the ground to where they want to sell. And then I said, okay. Somebody else in my family had mentioned to me that my great-grandfather had over 1,000 acres of land, and it was just, I guess he sold it. I'm not sure if he inherited that from his father, because when I did look back in the some of the records where it seemed like they had distorted and lied, it showed that he was an owner and he had about 500 acres.
He probably had a plantation. I mean, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like, and don't get it twisted, guys. A lot of our people owned plantations. I don't know what makes you think that all white people did. That's a lie. A lot of our people owned acres and acres and acres of land prior to these foreigners' arrival.
Now,
but that, to me, that sounds like a plantation.
Okay, now one of my ancestors, my grandfather, he was like 80. Every single one that was in the household with him was younger white folks, and they were naming them as lodgers. Now I'm thinking maybe he got so old in his age that they try to, mess up the documents and change everything up. Like you said, he probably was the owner of a plantation, and all of a sudden he became a servant. At 80 years old, he became a servant. So I'm trying to figure out if those all people are lodgers, but he was the head. He was named as the head, but then when it goes down to
hold
say
on,
what
it
his
says that he's the
occupation.
head of the household?
It said that he was the head, and then it later says he's a servant, and then it go. I have all that stuff written down. I'm like, wait a minute, how was he the head before, and then he turned into a servant, a laborer?
Somebody trying to steal something. Somebody trying to take it, and I keep telling people that land is worth way more than y'all think. Like, I'm talking about way more. Even if you try to get somebody to come do an estimate for you, it's worth more than that. It's worth more than that. Ain't no telling if it's oil up under that. See, and that lady, once again, sis, that lady that has the oil right now, you need to contact me today. today. Because that's too much money. That your family, see, and it's gonna get rocky. I already know. As soon as they hear million, it's gonna get rocky. But yeah, I mean that has to get adjusted. I could look at the records and see what's going on, and you may have to grab a lawyer. This might get a little deep for you, your situation, because you got so many people involved, and you need a copy of that will. You need to copy. You need to see what's going. Man, I will be on top of that. I will be very nosy, because that's a lot of money that's on the line. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And this sister said 85. That's a lot of acres. And then and when they were split, I wonder how many they got. I wonder how many each person received. How many acres?
I have no idea.
Nah, we need that.
Split up, but I do know that it said that there was a total of like 4 or 5 oil wells that they dropped on that land, and they don't even know that it belonged to my family.
I don't want to hear that. If it's on that land at the time that he owned it, that's his. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Anything that's on that land is his.
And if somebody's already collecting millions off of it,
they owe you.
I mean, they definitely owe you, because somebody is claiming a landlord position to be able to collect some royalties.
They need to be sued. Not only that, all that money need to be retro back. See, and they probably live in gorges up in Beverly Hills right now. And we don't even know. Man, that pisses me off. Send that. Let's go. I'm gonna try my hardest to do what I can. I know a few good attorneys also. And I think you said Arkansas. I would have to check and see if they, certain attorneys got to be certified in certain states. I'm gonna have to check and see. But that's a case.
All right, quick.
That one is deep.
Because my
All right, so with everyone going to get the SS5 form and SF181 form, changing their status up, and doing genealogy, where is that leading to human rights?
Well, I don't suggest everybody do the SF181. That's not me. I don't say that. I see other people saying that, but you changing your status with this government is not changing a thing. Changing your status with this government, you still making yourself an undocumented immigrant, because this government is foreign.
Right. So by doing all of that, how are these people going to go get land when you can't be grantor and grantee and paying taxes? Because just in case you do get it, go to court, and then you say that, you can provide a little information that you did get from Dawes Rolls or, genealogy or whatever you're going to do.
What you do to get the lands back ain't got nothing to do. Well, it does have to do with genealogy.
I'm saying leading up to that, if they was to ask for proof and people can show that proof with those documents. I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if you paying taxes, it's not yours. You're gonna lose it. And if your children don't pay bills correctly, they gonna lose it. You know what I'm saying? If you pass away.
What, lose the land? I don't understand. Oh, a trust will protect you. They can't take your land if it's in your own trust.
Right, but people can't be grantor and grantee at the same time doing business and commerce. So where is this information leading?
What do you mean? What do you mean they can't be? What do you explain that? I don't know what you mean.
Say your name is Calloway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your mom did the birth certificate on you. You're a subject of the corporation. until you do something different. What's the difference of what you're going to do when you're going to apply for with all this information?
I mean,
where's the human rights coming from?
Okay, it's number one, the human rights come naturally as soon as you're born. No government is going to tell you that you got human rights. You get that as soon as you're born. The only thing that they're doing is switching privileges over to certain people by way of their status that the government will place them in. That ain't got nothing to do with you getting your land back, though. That ain't got no race on it.
Overall, where's their human rights coming from? Because you understand, if you're a subject of a corporation, you don't have it.
Nah, you do. You got human rights immediately as soon as you're born. The government is only dealing with your civil rights.
They don't.
Not your human rights.
That's all a lot of people got that's a 14th Amendment citizen. They only got civil. They don't have human.
You have human as soon as you're born with it. Can't no government tell you about your human rights?
Under the Constitution, our people are listed as 3/5 of a human. They're not whole.
Okay.
So they have to do something to combat that. Hold on, sister. I'm talking to the brother. Hold on, sister. I'm talking to the brother. Trying to get understanding. So the whole point is, what are they going to do with that information that they're going to get if they're calling themselves indigenous and changing that little status there? It is more.
Once again, I didn't say anything about changing status. I don't know where you're getting that from, but that's not me. I don't promote that.
I heard it in the room when I was trying to get on the stage, so I was just
nobody said that. That's a lie. I would have repeated that and corrected them just like how I'm correcting you. It's not about changing your status. It's about getting your land back. The status, regardless of what you change it to, it's still gonna make you an undocumented immigrant because this government is foreign. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It doesn't. If you switch it over from black to American Indian, what's the difference? Nothing. It's no difference.
It's a difference.
What's the difference?
Well,
because if you switch it to American Indian, it's actually worse. Because what rights the American Indians got right now?
Oh, none. They 14th Amendment chattel.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make a difference.
Right. But it's the whole purpose of going further with that. It would be a nationality. But the whole point is
that's that more science temple stuff. I don't do that stuff over here, brother.
I don't understand because I'm not a part of the temple, so I don't understand that.
That more stuff ain't got nothing to do with me. You can sit in the audience and learn, sir. I'm not about to talk about that more science temple paperwork. That ain't got nothing to do with my people. You can keep that Morse crap in the Morse crap. I'm not here for that. This ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm talking about authentic documentation. The government is our enemy, period. We go by their own records and say, look, oh, you contradicting yourself. Here go a deed and say my parents own this land. Now what? That ain't got nothing to do with your nationality. No, that's about ownership. That's what that's about. So keep that more science temple crap or whatever you want to call it. Look, I ain't got time for it. Keep it. Ain't none of that stuff worked since y'all brought that out.
Hey, Dane, can I suggest something?
Go ahead.
What's happening is, and I understand the confusion, is there are terms being created that people are consenting to be labeled as, the African American, Negro, all of these, even Indian. Those are all created by, they don't have to be, yeah, they're going to be foreign, but they have beneficiary interest in this land.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people don't understand. So if you come in as the beneficiary, it's the trustee that pays.
That's correct. I agree with that.
The beneficiary and so as long as you're identifying as the beneficiary, it waives all of that other garbage.
And the reason why
they'll run away.
And we're fighting to be the beneficiaries again because they disenfranchised us. When they disenfranchised us, then they started labeling or classifying us. See, keep in mind, they classified us as. They had no right to do that. We didn't sign off on no paperwork saying this government can classify us as whatever they want. That's the problem. That's the problem.
We say we are, not what they are.
Exactly.
We define what that is, not them, and we put a definition to it, not their definition.
Exactly. Thank you.
That's the fine line that people don't understand.
I'm not about to tell somebody to switch their social construct status to a whole nother social construct status. I'm not saying that. Like when people was asking me about this census, I said, what's gonna be the difference? If you put black American Indian or other, what's going to be the difference? What is the difference? It's the same misnomer. You still allowing the government to classify you versus you knowing who you are and claiming it. Big difference. I don't have to give, the government ain't got to give me no nationality. I don't need that. Matter of fact, what's the government's nationality? and the
what
people
was we before, or what was we before all those names existed?
There we go.
Was placed.
People don't have a thorough understanding of that, though, and that can trick them up. They have to make sure that any contract based on fraud is void, but they have to exercise that, but they get to keep the benefits of it. So that's what people don't understand, and that's the slippery slope. They need to spend some time researching a little bit about contract law. That anything that's built on fraud or duress, and our people have been under duress, it was definitely by fraud that the land was taken. That's why they became the trustees of it.
Listen, it's null and void. Yeah, this government know what's going on.
And actually, they can be our friend if we are in the right knowledge of things. If we understand how the system is played, we can take advantage of it because we are the beneficiaries of it. We don't have to fight. They want you to fight. It's not necessarily a fight. It's a right understanding of who you are and who your claims are. You get to self-declare. And be careful how you write your story. Just make sure you are saying things that you can back, well, not necessarily back up, but that you believe in. Because the whole Dred Scott was a narrative that he believed in, but it damned him. He believed he was a Negro of African descent, a term that was made up by John Van Avery. And so he wrote his affidavit that this is what he was.
And it kept getting pushed back.
Exactly. Just as he was damned for what he said, we can be freed from what we say. We could just basically
I agree.
Say, what I call myself has no relevance to any statute construct or anything that was defined as. And if it does get into that category, it's going to benefit me, not the institution.
Correct. Or the corporation, yeah. I know what you meant.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple, but yet it's easy, but not simple, I guess.
No, I know what you mean.
It's a little bit of thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We agree.
And effort, because people you can't just sit there and be lazy and expect Google to tell you everything. Like, you literally have to know what they did in law so we can fix it. It's not about being consent or consent to their law. Keep in mind, when they developed this government, their promise was to make everybody else sub-governments. They disguised it to say, no, we want you to govern yourself. Their whole plan was to make you form your own government so they could control that government. That's been happening since day one. So all these governments combined, and we still allowing these strangers to dictate. And we ain't got no say-so? No, we do have say-so. We just not saying nothing. That's my whole point.
Hey, do I just jump in?
Can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Is that for me?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay. Hey, first, I want to say...
oh, my apologies, brother. Y'all sound just alike. I didn't know who was who. Go ahead, Dodo.
I appreciate you, Dane, for everything that you've done, man. You taught me a lot. I wouldn't have done any research on my family had it not been for you. This is what I wanted to talk about. My mother had told me a long time ago about my great-great-grandfather having land that was taken from him. And, had it not been for you, I would have never done any research on this. So, I found an article which was written up in a Jet magazine from 1959 about my great-grandfather and the dispute that he had with the guy that owned land next to him. So in the article, it says, elderly South Carolina couple claim police beat them. A 72-year-old St. George, South Carolina farmer, Charlie Rett, and his 67-year-old wife claimed they were clubbed by police who arrested them on charges of unlawfully entering the property of a white neighbor, Clyde J. Hartzog, and destroying his trees. The couple was released on a $1,000 bail each, pending an October court hearing. Rett, who has been disputing the Hartzogs since 1947, over the boundaries of their adjoining properties, refused to pay a $1,000 court judgment in favor of Hartzog in 1957. Rhett's 89-acre farm was slated for sale to satisfy the judgment.
What? Nah. Well, I mean, for what?
For $1,000, bro.
Hold on. So what did the white people? What did that person say in order for him to allow the judge to take the property?
Well, apparently he was saying that my great grandfather chopped down some trees on his property or whatever, and they called the police, and the police came and they beat my grandfather, my great grandfather, and my great grandmother, and locked them up.
And then confiscated the land.
Yeah, after they went to court, because my great grandfather refused to pay the fine. So the NAACP had came down there and got them out of jail. But when it was time, when they charged him $1,000, you know, he was like, no, I'm not paying it. So they took everything. So I went doing some research, looking for the deed for my great grandfather, and I can't find it. But I found the deed for the guy that took his land, and in the deed it mentions my great grandfather's name.
Saying so, what? What did it say? What did it say? What did he list him as?
Right now, I got it right here. All right, I'm gonna read part of where it has his name in it. It says also that certain piece, parcel, or tract of land containing 71 acres, more or less, situated, lying, and being in School District Number 2, Dorchester County, South Carolina, bounded on the north by lands of the east of John Hartzog, on the east by an independent road, on the south by lands of Mary Hartzog and the estate of John Hartzog, and on the west by Charlie Redd. So
they just confirming that he had that land.
Right.
We do still need the deed though. Yeah, we do need that deed, because I don't know what they could have did in that situation as far as the courts.
I mean, this was big news back then, man, for them to have it printed up in the Jet magazine. I was amazed, shocked, actually. 1959 or 58, Dorchester. Okay. So what would be my next step to find this? Because there had to be a deed, man. If his name is outlined in the other guy's deed, how do I go about finding that? Because it's like they deleted it in the deed for the other guy. Oh yeah, in the Jet magazine. Hang on, right here. Yeah, RHETT. Yep, Charlie Redd. So my thought was that he didn't go to court because they intimidated him. These people killed his brother, man. You know what I'm saying? They bandaged him, tied him up, they cut his off and stuck it in his mouth. And his son, they tied him up. Huh? No, I'm telling you what actually happened. I was a little boy when this happened. This was already past the point where they had already took our land. And I remember, you know, like his son, they tied him up, tied a rope behind a truck or whatever, and dragged him down a highway, a road, tore his whole body up. I couldn't even go to the funeral. I was a little boy, I remember. You know what I mean? I'm 52 years old. So even in the South, even back then, you know, it was still segregated. You know what I'm saying? It's horrible. These are the things that these people have done to my family. And at my age, I'm not gonna let them get away with this. I don't even really care. Well, I do care about the land, but I didn't grow up on the land, but it's about legacy. How dare you come and take what's mine? And you know, Dane, man, what I wanna know, right? And you are absolutely right about everything that I've heard you say, right? But I was trying to understand, how is it that this man come about to own 89 acres? How did he get this land? You know what I'm saying? It's not like he bought it, or did he? How did we, you know what I'm saying? Because the guy next to him had a lot of land too, which he was white. But how is it that we were able to have this type of land to own and farm on without having to buy it from them? Which says that, yes, we must have been here already to have all this property. Because he wasn't willing to pay $1,000, you know what I'm saying, which he could have had, I don't know.
I really do hope that this is your ancestors, because I got the deed right in front of me right now. And it got his signature and everything.
You're talking about the it's got a diagram on it?
It does have a diagram, yes.
Yeah, now if you look at that down in the middle, Charles B. Rhett, Dorchester County, John B. Rhett, Germantown, that's in Somerville.
So that's not him. Because it say Dorchester County.
Yeah, Somerville is in Dorchester County. So is Reedsville and St. George and other towns and stuff.
So this is not him?
No, that's not him.
Okay.
I saw that one too.
He owned a couple blocks though. If you look at this, he owned the whole 1, 2, 3. Damn, I mean, a whole block. He owned whoever this is owned the whole. He owned Central Avenue, Simmons Avenue, Parkwood Drive, and Germantown Road. No, yeah. Here it is. It's right in between it. Hold on, wait. Those streets must be small. I don't understand why. How does that equal to 4 acres?
3.85.
3.85. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. I don't know. That's a little. I would have to see that in person.
Yeah.
But that's not him. You saying?
No, that's not Charlie. That might be. I believe I asked my mom about this, and she said that was my grandfather's brother. Not my great-grandfather.
Look at the name up under it. Somebody signed it named John B.
Yeah.
125 Germantown Road, Somerville, South Carolina.
Yeah. They in the family. They in the family. But he lived in, like, that, all that went to his son. He lives in Brooklyn. Yeah.
We need to find that other deed, bro.
I know.
We need to see what happened. Well, apparently we got to do some digging because we couldn't get it right away, and we should be able to.
Right. It's amazing, man. I'm so glad that you came along, man, to teach us this stuff, bro. I'm telling you, because when I look at it all, like, my grandmother had to leave that land that was taken from my great-great-grandfather, right? And she originally came from, which is still in Dorchester County, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've looked at the whole picture. Everybody in the community where I grew up, we're all related. We're all cousins, and we own all the land.
Right, basically, because they got the same last name too.
Right, there's no white people in our community at all. So I'm like, well, where did this whole slavery thing come from?
Can you download this still? Because I believe this is your family members. Because look, they got another name, Mamie G. Harrod, on the same location. Look at the document. Look at where it's pointing at. 137 0901 145. That's a lot number. Property line to be abandoned. Look at that. Property line to be abandoned. Wait, brother. Look at the. Hold on. Download this. You may need this to track other things, because right here on this document saying this is to be abandoned and pointing right at the lot number.
Wow.
You see this, right? This is on the screen. This is right here, right? And that's
admission to fraud.
Yeah, that's admission to fraud.
That definitely sounds like it, because if you're setting somebody up for failure. That's those words right there.
Brother, I would download this, and I will get I need you need to have somebody that's going to investigate somebody. I don't know who going to be put. Basically, they're going to be against the government. Well, not really. They're going to be against the state. If anything, this will be against the state. Maybe the state has no idea, maybe, but the land surveyor was William Dennis, and that was back in, it says 2000. January 19th, 2000. So he certified this in 2000. And this was, okay, this was created December 3rd, 1999. Brother, this information is new. That means something happened prior to this. And they were already planning for these other lands to the left, if you see what I'm talking about, to be abandoned. It says property line to be abandoned. And look at the damn line. That's the whole, I mean, look at the line. Look where it's stretching. And that's the whole, and right up under that, it say that Mamie.
Y'all see it.
Is owning.
Mamie Red.
If I were you, I would get involved, because you need to know who these people are. John, Mamie, they got the same last name in the same area at the same time. That's family.
Yep.
There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's family.
Damn.
I would look into that, because right up top it say 3.32 acres. And we see right here that it says 3.85. Okay, apparently he surveyed 3.85. And it says Charles owned 3.32.
I see it. I see it.
Track A.
Yep. And then track B.
I'm looking for B right now.
It's right underneath Charles Rhett. Right underneath.
Oh yeah, right here. So
Track B.
Yep.
That's a half an acre.
Yep, half an acre. That's still a lot of space.
More than 3 point. It's more than 3.32.
Man, look, I don't know, man. Hey, I'm not about to, you know. If I were you, I would get somebody involved right now, because apparently something got a little rocky right there, and they took those. Like, cause how come we can see them right now, and we can't see him? That's a that's a red flag. Like all of their records are supposed to be up, especially if they owned it. Ain't no if, no, man. I would jump on this right now. You may need to get some money involved right here.
I will. Cause you know what, man? Somerville is a city. It ain't no.
Bro, this is
not.
Look at the map. I'm just saying. To me, this looked like a whole. I mean, I don't know, man. I could be wrong once again, but this looks large. This looks a lot larger as far as the diagram is concerned. Of course, I would need to see this in person, but that's. I don't know, man. That's a lot. I don't see how that's so small as they're trying to make it. I don't know. I could be wrong. Once again, they're handwriting this. But I mean, yeah, this diagram.
That's a state road. State Road 18.
And so is Germantown Road. Look at all. They tell you the roads up top: Central Ave, Parkwood Drive, Simmons Ave, Germantown Road. All of them. And
I see Simmons Ave, dude. That look bigger than it. That looks bigger than.
I think this diagram is playing with the. Yeah, I don't. If you are you in that area or nah? You in New York?
No, I live in Philly.
In Philly, you not that far from there. I mean,
I grew up down there, but my mom is in Somerville right now. Listen, there's some businesses on this land right now. Lighthouse Cigars and Gifts, Baker's Barbecue of Somerville, Pretty in Pink. It's businesses on this land.
Here go the deed right here. You want to send out some eviction notices, or they need to pay rent? Here go the deed right here. I mean, what we gonna do?
I'm gonna look into it, Dane. Damn, man, I'm glad you brought this to my attention, because I did see that deed, but I went over it because I didn't recognize the name.
Now you need to confirm that that's your family members. Real talk, brother. You really do got to confirm, because if that's your family members, it's up to you from that point forward. To me, I got a feeling it's your family members. Ain't no coincidence of them being in the same area with the same last name at the same time, and they not family members. And they landowners?
Right. Damn.
Brother, this a lot of land. Take this serious, because this might change your whole family's life. No joking. Especially when they already got businesses within this area. And I don't see where that deed was signed off to nobody. I mean, I do see John, but he in the family.
Yep.
So
John is in Brooklyn. That's my grandfather's brother's son.
You may have to holler at him. Like you may have to talk to him to find out what happened, because brother, this is the land. This is it right here. You got the deed. Print this. Don't lose this.
Got you.
You need this. And it's certified, brother. They got the seal. Both of them. Ain't no if, ands, or buts about it. This is it right here.
Damn. All right, man. I appreciate you, man.
All right. I'm just here to make you think.